experience better than ever. Let me show you around the newest addition to the ALGS website, the ALGS multiview. After signing in with your EA account, you'll be able to watch up to 12 streams at once during every single ALGS event. Each team has its own dedicated observer and comms that you can listen to. Viewers will even be able to vote for which player's POV they want to watch. You can customize your layout, add custom Twitch streams, and even draw over them with built-in tools. Team and individual stats will be easily accessible in the sidebar, updating in real time. And just like on Twitch, you can clip your favorite moments as they happen. And yes, you are still eligible for Twitch drops. Now keep in mind that the ALGS multiview tool is still in beta, so as we continue improving the experience, we want your feedback. Please share it using the button that you'll find in the bottom right of your screen. Now this tool is free to use, and it'll be available for every single ALGS event. So log on, find your favorite POVs, and tune in for the best viewing experience that ALGS has to offer.
Let's settle it, look at the life that we relish, I'm telling it. I'm the star of the show and the regiment. Can't stop me, bro, ain't no pedaling, ain't no riding the wave. Staring right in your face, you know where I'm getting it. This ain't back in the days, get ready for more and more, ain't no meddling, no. Gotta know what my head is for sure. I had a show when I was young, I had my back on the ropes. Looking like I never had her on roll. School of hard knocks, I get hard drops. Got drive even when the car stops. I don't ask it if they let me, ain't no get ready. When you stay ready, let's go.
The ALGS is back, and on this Easter afternoon, or wherever you are celebrating, if you're celebrating, we welcome you and say that this is going to be a showdown between A versus C that you do not want to miss, so we're glad you're here. My name's Rain Day. I'll be your host today alongside my two compatriots, Dia and Graceful, who will be casting the action all day long in Americas to get us going for what will be the second day of ALGS action to kick off year 6. And Dia, this is an important region. It's the home of our winner of the championship that happened in Sapporo, the second year in Sapporo in earlier this January. And of course, they'll be playing today alongside 19 other teams who are trying to make that them coming up in 2027. You know,
if it wasn't for Hyarka, I would have been saying that every team that wins a LAN moves here, but no, we just had to break that promise.
You certainly do. And Grace, coming from EMEA, which was a great day, we saw some expectations subverted. Some teams we thought would do okay, but maybe not take the top spot. Certainly clear the rest of the room. And in Americas, that could happen as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll also see the likes of good teams that we're expecting performance out of maybe start a little bit slow, but should be picking up the pace, as we saw the last yesterday already with the likes of Falcons and Liquid. We're starting a little bit slow, but still ended up in that upper bracket. So as long as you can get the ball rolling, then they should be fine for the most veteran teams. However, on the flip side of things, the teams that aren't as played together already gotta have hopefully to start hot, because if you start too cold, it might take too long. And if the next map rotation isn't your favorite, well, then it gets sticky.
Yeah, you brought up a good point about some slow starts. Falcons, if you watch some of those games, made a couple highlights on them yesterday as well. Just needed that game 6 to get into 4th place. And obviously, that's not where they want to end up. But still, there's a lot to look at. You've got our winners of the championship, Oblivion, back as a trio. You got Full 11, who were winners of yesterday, Dia. So many good teams to keep your eye on this afternoon.
Yeah, Full 11, of course, came into here with a lot of confidence, and I gotta say, even having spoken to them, I still wasn't sure that a team that qualified out of Open was going to take the win on day 1. And the fact that we have Full 11, Stallions, and Ninjas in Pyjamas, the top 3 placing teams, all playing again today, is certainly going to be something that could set these teams way ahead of the pack when it comes to the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I love Rock Esports consistency, Shopify Rebellion. You'll hear these names throughout the broadcast. Many of you in chat are ready to root for them already. But we got some new trios as well. And Dia, I'm going back to you because obviously some new names, some familiar names, but really just, new combinations of teams, seeing if this is what can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see all the teams that we saw there. I think especially Rock, who I really thought were going to win in Sapporo, but I ended up having to change my prediction because they got knocked out. And then Gamblers, who, again, I also spoke to before this weekend, and just very excited to see what they bring back, given that the squad has remixed a bit. And I've been a big follower of Audie's journey through the Pro League, and very excited to see what he brings to another split.
Yeah, and Grace, you know, being a part of many of these teams yourself, having that new surge of energy, sometimes it's the difference. You could take the same great players, same, you know, level, but they mesh better together in certain combinations, and that could be all you need to really push forward with a great performance in Pro League.
I mean, JD Gaming specifically tied to Naughty, who I've played a few tournaments with, even though, you know, smaller tournaments, and then Shubi, who I think we also interviewed in Open, one of the tournaments, and like them both a ton. And then you have Floating from Twerkaholics, massive
exciting
performance on that LAN. They might have fallen a little bit flat in the grand finals, but their way to that, like paving that way to that lobby, was something we haven't seen out of a team coming pretty much out of nowhere.
No.
Can that little bit splash of new player resurge again and make this team take it to the next level? I mean, if anywhere, Pro League is a great start for the year.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's take a look at how this year started in terms of the meta, because we've seen a lot of focus on the supports. And speaking of supports, one of the biggest names so far is Gibraltar. And you can see it here with our defending champs, Oblivion, obliterated Dia. And it's by a drive-by from a Gibraltar here as well. And that dome doing so much work.
Yeah, Gimme Bubble plus Trident is the OP combination of this split. You've seen a lot of people use it this morning, and actually, if any of you managed to check Effect's Twitter after the masterclass that Aurora put on today, you would have seen him tweeting, "Same gift Gibraltar. What can I say? I love what I do."
That's true. As well as supports on the other side of things from players, and not just players, coaches. Speaking of, Tilted Winnie's been granted permission to explore her options, and of course Funk as well, parting ways with Team Liquid as they've got a new roster led by Zero coming up. But that's not it. It's been great to see the support players. It's been great to see the support coaches. It's been great to see the support characters in game, but it's also been great to see the supports just generally from people about Apex. If you've been on your content grind, either watching or making it, I've been doing both, you've been seeing all the conversation around Apex. It is surging again across the world, and we're having moments like this where Zainu's mom is commenting on one of the Apex Legends videos of the many you'll see of people saying the game is great right now, saying her son is Zainu, and the flex, the support. This is amazing to see. I love this, Graceful, and it just again showcases people love to love Apex.
I mean, it's just one of those things when you have that extra pillar, that extra strength to pull you through those series that might end up being so hard. No other way than to make those people that are supporting you happy. When you got that extra support line. I had my wife throughout all of my years, and she's been my support line, as well as my family and friends. And now that you have, your mom right there, you just want to make them proud.
I mean, moms used to be yelling in the stands at my games. Now I guess they're yelling in the TikTok comments. Things have changed. The world always changes. Dia, I want to get your thoughts, however, on this level of support, because Imperial Hal, he's been known to have a few tweets that, maybe we couldn't show on broadcast. We did still have to bleep some words out on this one. But he was pretty cordial with taking second place as Oblivion had their win in Sapporo a few months earlier.
Yeah, we didn't really get to talk about the whole Falcon story because everybody was so excited about Oblivion, but I have to agree with the phrasing of this tweet. Oblivion absolutely deserved the win, and also Falcons were probably the best team that we saw at the tournament. It is always a thing in Apex where we're looking at this from a perspective of, well, if you win match point, you are the best team. You can't deny that, but I think it's so clear and so heartening to see these players acknowledging each other. Like you said, Hal perhaps known for some stronger language, Monsoon always known for love and bringing that positivity back, not going, hey, we were the better team, but instead going, hey, you're fantastic, you're amazing, and you make such a great part of this scene. I think both of these teams and now storied players very much supporting each other, of course, but the facts are there. Falcons were insane, and Sapporo, and they should be insane this split. That's my takeaway looking at today, looking at these tweets, and looking at what their impact on Split 1 will be.
And maybe a little growth from the early CEO 6-7 years ago when he was just starting out in the ALGS and streaming. Hal's grown a lot. You got to give it to Hal for all that and his leadership now. One thing I got to say about leadership: you're starting a family. Your wife is on the delivery table, and you're rocking ranked in Apex here, and you're looking at an end screen. Now, I don't know if one is creating the other. It's obviously a tense situation. You're trying to relax things. May not be the best spot for ranked, but I have to admire the commitment. That seems like he's going to be a very committed father here for sure. So I love that and appreciate it, Violetta. That's a funny one. I've only seen one other person get away with that, and it's one of my friends who was my groomsman, and he was playing Elden Ring. So I don't know what it is about challenging games in the delivery room. I just try to get some extra sleep. If you want to join us here for some more Apex Legends goodies, well, just keep doing what you're doing. Watch, because every 30 minutes that you watch, we're giving away a Philip Flop gun charm. That's right. If you are a fan of the Open that we did last year to kick things off in New Orleans, you'll know what I'm talking about. The Philip Flop could be yours, and you could equip it on every single gun that you use. Just a little reminder that you could still be successful in flip-flops. 30 minutes of watching today or any of our Pro League days over the weekends will allow you to get it. And you can also earn it on ALGS Multiview. And if you go to algs.ea.com, you log in, you have access to Multiview, which is a new way for you to watch the ALGS. And probably, I'd say, the best way. Get different angles, even draw on some of the cameras and listen to the rotations every single fight, and make the ALGS yours the way you want to experience it. So check out algs.ea.com, log in, and join Multiview to watch the ALGS your way. All right, that's it for me. Coming up, we've got game one as we jump into A versus C in North America. It's going to be a busy day, a fun day. Hope you got your beverages and you're ready to relax for another great afternoon of Apex. Let's send it over to Dia and Graceful.
All right, Grace, let's do this. We've got some fantastic games coming up, of course, but I do want to say, because I was very passionate about the multi-view edition, that I would really encourage everyone not only to go check it out, but to pull up the map view on the side. I'm going to have my map view right here. It is an incredibly valuable resource. Graceful, I know you know this as well. And of course, if any of you are watching via ALGS Multiview and you have any feedback, you've got a button in the, I think it was the bottom right, if I remember correctly, that you should be able to press for feedback. So go ahead and submit that, because this is still a tool that's in beta, and we're going to make it the best it can possibly be before the split is out.
I know people might be skeptical to multiview as we've had several iterations of it, but I think the best way is by trial and error. Make sure to try that out and see whichever feedback you can send back, and hopefully we'll just have a better version of it in the future. However, looking at the matches we'll play today, we're going to go back to Olympus for the first 3 matches, Storm Point on the last 3 matches once again, as we're watching the POI draft for Olympus. Remember the zones we saw today? We saw one on the west side of Rift, we saw around Terminal as well, and once you have those zones, already the teams that are around the central Rift are looking pretty good for that fast rotation potential.
We are definitely starting on Olympus. There we go. I was really thrown off for a second because I had my Storm Point POIs pulled up and was like, nope, I gotta switch those. As we start off on Olympus, though, I do want to draw your attention to the teams positioned around the outside of the map. Gamblers, Team Liquid, Crazy, Thieves, Stallions, Rock, and actually Rock and DKK very close together could give us some early action. I'll say the same thing of Jingdong Gaming, who are up in the north side.
I mean, we're gonna see some fantastic things coming out of all of those teams you just mentioned, but will they stay consistent? One of the things that I really like to see is, there might be teams that save their series by having one big game. We see that almost in every single series, I would say. One team that maybe has a few lackluster games, a few donuts, and then one big win swings them straight into that top 10, top 5 area. But what I would like to see here, JD Gaming looting up one of the teams I talked about. Shubi and Naughty, definitely not new players. Floating, however, from that open land, having that resurgence or huge pop-off moment to now being on a team that is considered very strong. Hopefully they can make a good impression on us going into Pro League.
We are mirroring something really similar to what we saw this morning as well with compositions. Caustic, Alter, and Crypto, absolutely the most popular composition on the map right now, and Caustic the most picked legend. So Caustic will be the ban moving out of this game and into game number 2. Something to keep your eyes on, especially with how flexible Caustic can be, both defensive and offensive, especially since his rework that allows him to get all 4 perks.
Yeah. I mean, right here, one of the new zones. We did not see this in EMEA so far. Pulling more towards estate side of things. Could be pulling a little bit off of it even. Will be fun to see how that plays out, because this is one of the zones that is incredibly hard to play, because once you're out in the open, which, by the way, in this zone is about 80% of it, you're going to be gunned down by absolutely everybody, because we do not see that many Gibbies. The Gibby-Newcastle combination that we do see on, 3 teams will have a good time if they can avoid 20 EMPs and a Maggie Ball.
Yeah, this is a very different look, right? So you need some sort of safety with Gibby, you'd imagine, and yet we're seeing so little of it in our first game. You have to imagine that this will tick up a little bit later on, but as we go towards the States, maybe not having a Gibby won't be such a big problem, because of all the places on Olympus that we could possibly go, Estates has some of the most cover.
Yeah, you'll have cover for the early part of the match, but later on you'll have a tough time. That's kind of the thing. A lot of these teams, the reason why we see Crypto get banned, the reason why we see Alter get banned so far, those 2 characters open up the game in a sense that you cannot do on any other character. Crypto enables you to play hyper-aggressive with the EMP, as well as the free knowledge with UAV. And then you have Alter that just enables movement like nothing else. You can reset in Narnia, you can go through walls, ceilings, floors, make plays that were not directly usable on any other character. So you gotta make sure that, do you want to get the reps in while you can before it gets banned, or do you want to play something else? Because those, if you have a favorite comp that is not, typical, maybe you can get extra reps in before that gets banned. Like, let's just say these Gibby teams. However, dodging that many EMPs as well as like two or three Maggie Balls is going to be very hard for the Gibby teams. But should they survive, they do have a better survivability and opens up for more playable area later on.
My neurons are activated. I saw that knock happen in the kill feed and am absolutely looking for where that follow-up will be, right outside of Estates. Blinks managed to find yet another one. S2 get involved in this as well, and Gamblers unfortunately go down. I don't want to say it was a curse. I didn't predict anything crazy out of them, I don't think, but it is a team that I'm hoping maybe gets a better turn of the wheel in future rounds. Very excited, however, for S2.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it already. Several teams have parked in a stage right now, looking to see where the zone is going to be pulling off after this. However, if you get caught on that rotation, and we see more teams pulling up as well, it's going to be a hard reset, because even if you barely get in, how are you going to get out if you lose a player or two?
Ooh, I got a real quick note here as well as Elite Esports go down. Did anybody notice that? Oh, never mind, we're fighting. Alvaro Laley did get slammed pretty quickly, and Sacred actually lives for so long that it may turn the fight around against Freethinkers. In goes Negative, looks for the fry on Skittle Cakes, but just isn't quite connecting. These sprays a little bit rough, but still in the favor of Freethinkers. No knocks going the other way just yet. Last kill, Skittle is going to go down, and the Stallions will fall. Second place today, and third out.
I mean, Stallions had a good day before, but now gets eliminated early. You have some time to recoup from this by going into match one. Immediately being one of the first 3 teams to go out is definitely not how you want to start it. Freethinkers, however, feeling really good about that.
Yeah, they finished the fight fast enough that DINOS, even on the Trident, are not able to pull off the third party. Freethinkers already on purple as well, and that's just that is the advantage that you get from being an edge team. One of the thing that I spotted earlier as Thuggets do fall in an incredibly quickly paced lobby was that Blink went for the controller legend perks, not the support legend perks on Alter, for the extra HP in zone, knowing that he's going to be constantly getting the extra 25 HP until he hits purple. I thought it was a really heads up play just to make sure that they have more survivability in zone as Oblivion.
I mean, hey, they're not looking to reset anything. They're playing Seer and Maggie. They're looking to ape somebody straight up, so they don't need that.
Oh, we're resetting in Narnia.
I mean, that's just Alter right there. It doesn't matter if you get down. If you have a good placement that hasn't been overtaken yet, you can get that reset potentially. But Rock Esports sitting nicely right now in the center of the zone. Will this pull towards the state or not, though? Could be pulling more a little bit north of it, but everybody happy for the moment.
I mean, if it pulls north of it, we are going to have an even bloodier game than we have in the first couple of minutes. Getting out of estates is incredibly difficult. I've seen a couple that pull over. Are you thinking like the zip line, or rather the balloon that's just north of estates, or are you thinking more like really far north?
No, I mean, we'll see right in about 2 seconds.
Oh,
Bombi
well.
pulls into estates. Everybody in estates is super happy. Everybody on the edge is okay about it. However, the teams that will be collapsing on the northern side, if they all end up fighting for the same side, you know, turbine side or northern side where DINOS is gonna have a fiesta. Because once you have 4 or 5 teams coming in from the same side, there's only one team that makes it out alive.
Well, there are a couple spots that you can coexist or ignore each other, right? Because you've got the buildings on the low ground, the bridge that wraps over towards Hammond Labs, you've got all of Oasis, and there are really only 3 teams approaching from the north.
I mean, we'll see, because normally, if you see the next zone, right, there's going to be a team playing on the slope on the northern side, and then underneath this, the other slope on the east side towards Turbine.
Yeah.
Those 2 areas are where you're going to get locked out, essentially, and then DKK is free on the eastern side. But as it's closing in slowly and surely, there's only less and less play, because you can't really look down without you getting shot by the team at the absolute height, essentially overlooking everything.
I mean,
Turbine
you did
right
mention
now,
fights in Turbine, and we are getting fights in Turbine. Shopify Rebellion walk right into Freethinkers and are pushed right out.
Freethinkers once again wipes really quick, even gets the reset. However, Envy right now, right there, is coming in. It looks like DJ Killa scouting at them. No, they do get the Trident out. They get a reset.
Somehow it seems like it. Future did manage to find at least 1 knock, so DINOS will pick that up, but immediate disengage, this time through the altar portal for the remaining 2 members of Freethinkers. And it was Medium Rare who we saw drive by on the Trident. Literally everyone and their mother is going to Terminal.
Yeah, people want to clear out their side now to make sure that we don't have to fight several teams later on. The earlier, the better. On the flip side of things, Panic, Sykes on the roof right now, gunning somebody. Sykes 1 max J straight in the open right there. You cannot be walking like that, as the other teams are just making sure to see if they can get out.
Buckle Boys not in the most favorable position, and Liquid really wanting to press the advantage for whatever kills they can secure. And more importantly, this position up on high ground, so important for Liquid to hang on to, because they can transition it into estates really well. A lot of times this would be a bit risky, but because you've got Alter to make a safe transition down onto the low ground, you're going to have to fight for this high ground spot, because DKK want it as well.
I mean, we see DKK right there, dropped key unlocked, players that we all know about, a team that we've all have high expectations of, but haven't really fulfilled that level yet that we are assuming is going to be coming out of them at some point. Will this Pro League split be it? We shall see.
Freethinkers, my actual heroes, respawned. So we are back up at a full 3-man power for them. I say my heroes because it's the first time that we are seeing them wipe out both Stallions and Shopify Rebellion LAN teams, and it's just the opening weekend.
I mean, Medium Rare right now doing the big rotates. This is one of the things that people tend to forget as well. You can actually rotate in zone the entirety of this zone. This zone closing once you lead into 4 is where it really starts like hurting, but even then you can still medkit after a few ticks. But that's when it really starts getting scary. These guys feeling really confident though. Triple purple coming in late, needing to fight essentially 1 or 2 good fights to get a spot into the next zone. It's gonna be hard, but they are one of the teams that is playing Gibby very early on despite seeing a billion cryptos.
And the double support really lets them reset quite easily as well. A quick abduction does almost take out DKK, but they're able to survive for now with a few caustic barrels thrown their way. They do have to be careful though, as Keon actually gets ticked to gas somehow and falls with Blink looking for a few extra kills here. You could very quickly see Oblivion semi-collapsing on this and turning it into a bloodbath.
I mean, DKK had that combo as well, managed to get inside his stage where the zone is actually ending favorable towards them. It's ending maybe to the east of them if they're lucky. They're gonna feel really good about this. If they can stay put without getting hyper engaged on, they should be in a spot where they can actually be top 5 guaranteed, I would say.
I'm really liking the spot that Ninjas in Pyjamas are playing right now, to the north of everything over by Turbine, in the buildings that we talked about, underneath the bridge. A team like Full 11 is going to have, I guess, the closest building to that. Still pretty safe for a while, but not a particularly comfortable spot when it comes to eventually having to exit. Unfortunately, we will be losing another team. BB will fall, and Crazy Thieves start to make their way in.
Mind you, right here, Crazy Thieves, as we can see, Stooney is subbing in right now for Gent because, or Gamberton, because he did not figure his visa out in time, I believe. So we'll have to see how he can fill that slot for the moment. However, looking good with 1 KP on the board. Zone is actually not too bad for them, but they're going to have to make a couple of fights to make it that way. You said Ninja's Pyjamas was in a good spot, Dia. It is good if you can hold it. Mind you, what I said before, one team is going to come up from the slope, one team is going to come from the east, in the likes of Freethinkers from the Turbine side, Source Gaming from the eastern side of things. Now, who will engage on who first? But if Ninjas in Pyjamas can hold that slot right here, they are in a great spot. DKK, like I said, Zone Any right east of them is in a phenomenal spot. They're guaranteed top 5. Can they hold this spot against all the many alters and cryptos? However, if you can do it on any comp, I think Newcastle Gibby is a good slot.
This could actually be where we see our pre-show conversation about support, about coaches really pay off, because Ninjas in Pyjamas, they've got some incredibly talented players, but they've also got Raven, who was absolutely dominant in year 4 of the ALGS. Could be making a huge comeback now with an IP, but unfortunately a team that will not be doing that is S2, having lost 2 now, and with Team Liquid on the aggressive.
Team Liquid really showing up. Why, you know, we've seen them have a slow start before. This game is not it. Zero might go down right here, but can Sykes and Panic finish this out, or are they gonna go get the reset? One of them gets one mag behind them. Ooh, that was scary. However, he gets a reset, I believe.
Lauder gets creative, but it's not quite enough. DINOS, not quite enough for them either, but the nade from Cersei finishes it off. That is the kind of pickup that Rock were looking for.
I mean, we saw the collapse on the northern side happen right there. Ninjas in Pyjamas is actually occupying underneath the bridge now as well. They have so much space. If they can hold out to the east, they are looking for a top 3 scenario as well. Oblivion and DKK are sitting perfectly fine, even going into the next zone. Every other team, once this zone closes perfectly, they're gonna have to opt for a macro play.
Crazy Thieves having to deal with Source Gaming here as well are in such a difficult spot. They'd love to just rotate past this team, but you know in Apex you've always got to clear your back, and it forces them to play so slow. Verhul's starting to move up, but there comes the altar portal, and now at least Crazy Thieves can focus on clearing their fronts, but it is a really difficult thing to do with this much firepower being thrown at you.
That drill was really good placed. However, they still get a 2-for-1. They managed to knock them out. I believe they get a reset here on Verhulst. It seems they do. Gases is coming out. They're in the next zone, but other teams are going to have to make plays as well. We see 7 teams right now essentially battling it out in the States or more to where they have to make plays for the next zone.
Oh my god! These nades! It might just be Cole! 1v3 almost takes out the entirety of Crazy Thieves, and now he's got Kurev, and Kurev with the Kraber moving up on them. Crazy Thieves expire before he even scopes, and Liquid lending a little bit of a helping hand. And Ninjas in Pyjamas are playing this spot perfectly. We talked about their approach earlier as being critical. Have they prepared for this? The answer is yes. Graceful. They are taking up the right amount of space. They are looking for plays, not letting themselves be constricted by other squads.
We said it before, if they can clear out the east and north, which they have a great chance at winning this game. The zone is actually ending between NIP and DKK right now. If they can hold high ground and push other teams into that pit in a stage where all the teams are gonna collapse, they're looking at a potential high KP top 3 ending guaranteed.
JD Gaming having to deal with the push. They have sat up here a very long time and are running a little low on meds. Quick abduct comes in, but Shubi actually feeling pretty comfortable with his position around the outside. Gets to lay down a little bit more cover for JDG.
Shubi always been a smart player, having good placement on those barrels, making sure to, hey, they might have tried to kidnap or something. I get my barrels out. We're fine for now. However, they're not in the next zone. they all have to rotate. And when you're opting for Caustic over Gibby as an example, it's gonna be mayhem right now for the teams that are in the zone, aka Oblivion and DKK. You're just gonna have free shooting on everybody trying to walk in.
You see that Kraber come in. Kurev already starting to farm the lobby. JDG commit onto the low ground with a lightning fast 3v3 and take out Revival. Heads up play from them, but a quick reset absolutely necessary. This risks their game. Can they recover? In come the Valk missiles, re-knocking Naughty. That is a really bad sign for JDG.
This is going to be incredibly scary. Two teams are essentially looking down at them right now. NIP is holding off Rock Esports on the north side as other teams are battling it out to make it inside the States. DKK doing everything they can to knock them on the way in. It comes down to Shubi being a last player right here. Rock Esports gets eliminated. NIP is holding off full 11 right now for the power spot.
Oblivion gone as well. We are dropping teams like Flies, and NIP have the fly swatter. Out they come. JDG are gone. NIP continue to hold on to the north and are playing to clear every single side of them. Kurev slides in for the kill. How many shots has he got in this, Kraber? How many more teams can NIP take out? They are playing this north side so well.
NIP owns 90% of the map right now if they want to. Every other team is down in the pits of estates. This is looking like an easy win for NIP as long as they don't get surprised by a random altar player, anything of the likes of that. If they can just hold space and narrow it down so that the other teams are forced into each other, this is going to be a huge game for NIP.
Knock finds him. Should be Future going down here, but Future certainly got firepower to back him up. Does almost take out Knocked. Medium Rare, however, do not get baited into the third party, leaving us with just 3 squads. NIP, like you said, 90% of the space is theirs. That last 10%, Medium Rare and DKK. But with Alter in the lobby, with Gibby bubbles for safety and resets, anything could happen.
It comes down to bubble placement at this point. If they can force out the enemy bubble with any utility, that could lock the win in for NIP. As you can see right now, they have gas out. They have a Kraber in the hands of Kurev right now. They are just locking down absolutely everything. Nobody can do it. As we see a bubble come out early now as the Kraber is looking straight down the line.
He hits this. 120. Doesn't quite find the knock. Does he get another? Kurev's Kraber, deadly in scrims, deadly on land. Will it be deadly in the Pro League? It's deadly in the Pro League! MT goes down, and Ninjas in Pyjamas are free to take out another squad. Having to stifle their aggression a bit, though. Another squad coming in from the side. Kurev lets the rest of his team move forward. Cole wants to finish this off, but he goes down. NIP may have thrown this away to commit as a duo, but with another going down, it's all up to Kurev and DKK. Come up from below. Gibby bubble up. Kurev last standing. Finds the kill on Knocked. Will he find another? Kurev's still full HP. He could do this.
I said if nothing crazy happens, it does end up happening. And DKK gets the climb up to end out the game right there for the win from the pits of hell in Estates. Comes out the last team and they take home the win. I did tell you, NIP should win unless something crazy happens like an alter queue. It ended up being a Valkyrie ult. They decided to full send to clean up that for the guaranteed second. However, it costed them the win. I think they're happy with the game. We'll probably vote review to say, in hindsight, should we have sent it or not? And hello, Kitty.
I guess I got too excited. That's my bad. This was a game that any species should be paying attention to, especially the way that it played out at the end. Like you talked about, Grace, the fact that we actually got close to that anything could happen moment. DKK play that low ground really, really well. And I think unlike this morning, I'm going, you know what? NIP played this pretty well as well. I know that they ultimately gave up the first place to grab second, but I don't think I mind.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, you're going for consistency. I think obviously if they would prefer a win, but going for consistent points in terms of getting the KP and getting a better placement, I would never frown upon that, because at the end of the day, you're playing 6 matches. If you can score points on that leaderboard at all times, always good. You can't really be mad at it.
Yeah, it was a great showcase, though, of Olympus and all that this map can bring, I think, to the competitive scene of Apex Legends. The newest iteration of it introduced to champs, and then obviously now we get to see it now on a full split. And just little moments, like I think Crazy Thieves holding so much space because of the wall that separated Hammond Labs from Estates, and the way the trajectory of the map, there's not a lot of spots in Stormpoint or World's Edge that mirror that amount of space that you can hold just as one team. And the same thing how it ended up being with NIP. You mentioned a little bit of it, Grace, but it was just they had the entire map available and ready to go. And so that was unfortunate probably for them to not see the win, but I think they're going to be happy with their performance, the results, obviously, and just after game one. And speaking of game one yesterday, they actually won as well. Even though they didn't win this one, they came in second. But to have such a strong start, that's a great sign on what NIP are bringing together in terms of synergy.
I mean, it's one of those things where you have to keep in mind that they're fighting for power spots where you're making sure that it's the hardest spot to hold, because you're going to have 4 teams collapse on you. But should you be able to hold it off, you're in the best spot in the game, in that match for the moment.
Yeah.
And that's such a great thing to see. However, JD Gaming, 5th overall, 4 kills is nothing to shy off of. A lot of knocks as well. They were also in a spot to where we're looking to see their performance potentially skyrocket, hopefully, because I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great team. You talked about them. I think floating is a great story. Stainati and Shubi, and kind of the decision around, going their separate ways from Saucer and finding success, and Saucer also finding success with Rock. And then now floating being this, like, could he be the piece that puts the entire thing together? Exciting to start off at a top 5 position. We'll see if that continues. It's actually 6th place, but they're tied for 5th. So it's clearly a team that has shown up pretty well so far. I also want to highlight, for those who are here watching, we got Pro League all around the world. So APAC South has also got their Pro League running, and there's been some really good performances on day 2. Wolves, SAUL, and Titans Esports Club have found their way into the top 3. It's a big day for Wolves, obviously, because Dia, it's a 1-point victory over SAUL, who you often bring up. I think you even put a couple of picks towards them when we're doing our championship pick bounties. And obviously they're continuing at a pretty decent pace here.
Yeah, I mean, SAUL definitely an org and a set of players to keep your eyes on. They are fantastic on LAN, and I think the really important thing is to see how well they can continue to keep pace in Pro League, because people are so much more aggressive in Pro League. Their success in APAC South, not really in doubt for me, although I would like to keep my eyes on Team Orchid, especially because we have to remember this is the same org that gave us Panic in the Open. How well is their talent scouting done back in APAC South? Will this team that, maybe didn't have the greatest first day end up giving us another rising star?
That's a good point as well. I mean, also looking at the bigger picture, Wolves winning today, they've only played once. So SAUL still at the top of the leaderboard there, having gotten 16 points on day 1 and 21 on day 2. But we'll see if Wolves can keep up their perfect record so far. That'll be exciting to see. Well, after we checked in with APAC South, it's time to bring it back to North America. We've got our eyes on our new trios like JD Gaming, but also on our strong performers. DKK take game 1. Let's see what happens as we go back to Olympus, guys.
Yeah, it looks like I trolled us a little bit. I think I literally counted wrong, but Caustic, not banned. Alter does not lie. Not going to see Alter in game number 2, which is much more reasonable, to be honest, Graceful. The fact that we haven't got Alter moving into this second game on Olympus does eliminate a lot of playmaking options from our teams, especially when we think about the way that Estates played out last game, the verticality that Alter gives you, and the fact that even in the end game we were saying, well, Alter Gibby can completely change a game. While we load into this second game, though, I want to bring it back to the first for just a second. We saw the second place play from NIP. How did you feel about that? I said immediately after the game, I don't mind this. I think it was the right call to play for second place. But, I mean, you've played pro. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's really tough, right? He did hit the Kraber shot on the Valk going up, and he hit one as they were landing as well. Should they have cleaned it up or not? Because they would have probably full reset behind that Newcastle ult as well as the Rock. I think it's something that you can't, like, best case scenario, they win that game, they force the other teams to fight first, DKK potentially, because they have a little bit of area to play down low. But do they want to give that up? It's one of those things where it's like you're having a chicken race against a team, is who is gonna leave this area first, right? I think I can't be mad at it because at the end of the day, you're putting 3 extra KP as well as placement on the board.
Yeah, I look at that game and, you know, it obviously could easily have turned into a win for NIP, but when it comes down to whether you bet on yourself for the first place or whether you take the second and 3 KP, which is 12 points anyways, because it's 9 points plus the 3 KP, it really is a toss-up, and I am glad to see that sort of aggression now. I think that later, when we move further into the season, playing for first becomes so much more important, because then we're thinking about match point series, and match point series, only the win really matters.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make the match point first and then hit the win, but the only thing I think that NIP should take away from that is they should have probably played a little bit more split before that team landed, so that you don't have to all in. If you have somebody already in that positioning, they can either pre-nade or they can hopefully 1-mag 1 or 2 as they come down of that Valkyrie, instead of all being in the same location. You saw the way they played before it got to last 3 teams, when they were playing so much space on different angles. One was up the hill shooting at with the help of Team Liquid, took out CRT, and then one was underneath the bridge and one was in the middle holding the compound. If you can keep that space, potentially they could have made it into first place and pushing down the other team, or taking them out immediately without needing to go down for it, if you know what I mean. However, I think they're happy with the first game 1. We'll have to see what happens in game 2 now.
In the second game, a second chance for all of these squads at a win, at managing to avoid being eliminated by Freethinkers, perhaps, as that was the unfortunate end that Stallions and Shopify Rebellion met. And I think it's worth mentioning that Freethinkers, not exactly the squad that a lot of people would have pegged to do that. This was a squad that came out of the open, and still, they came in, I think it was 3rd out of the open in terms of points. This squad does not have a whole lot of screen time, and yet they managed to take out 2 LAN qualified teams. We should always be looking for those new stories, for those new players that are giving us exciting moments like that.
Yeah, most definitely. And despite having fighting very early and coming out on top, they went down guns blazing as well, taking out a team as they also got eliminated. Zone, however, pulling in between gardens and grow towers, one of these very common zones that we have seen, whether it's be pulling up into the northeast area outside of clinic in the open, or if it's going in between them a little bit more, completely fine regardless of where it pulls. Most teams are opting for the grow towers right now because there's a lot of playable area there where you can actually get a couple of KP. And however, with Alter out of the game, getting banned after game 1, getting out of grow towers, if it ends up pulling up, is going to be a lot harder than before.
We already got a knock, this time on to S2. I know that I'm excited about this team, but I got to stop saying it aloud because, my God, they did not have a great game last round, despite a pretty decent start. And this time, their start a little bit more awkward, as even Lauder is low, trying to hide inside these little bits of cover. S2 is surely going to be chased down right now, and I think, to borrow your phrase, you don't want to drop a donut here.
You definitely don't want to drop a donut. Full 11 right now, 2 people down as well. Scouting around to see if they can get out, but Arcs are coming in right now, see if they can clean up these kills. Huge thermite lands on all 3 of them, actually. Gets one of the thirst, potentially the second one right there. Soviet right now, solo crypto. If any character can get out of this spot, it is probably that one that gets the reset, but it is definitely going to be very hard.
Moby? He's got a Moby. They're coming back in.
You got a Moby.
It's completely undeniable as well. I will say, not sure that it's actually going to help that much, because Crazy Thieves are looking over all this. Oblivion are in the area as well. If there's one person I trust to snipe, it's Oblivion. If there's a team that I trust to clean up a fight, it's Crazy Thieves.
Yeah, most definitely. They seem to be getting out, though. Very good so far. Getting poked out a lot right now, though.
Not speak
Can
too
they make
soon.
it around the corner? They get around the corner. Should be able to get a little breather here, hopefully. EP comes in. Frax comes in.
I mean,
Getting scouted. Oh, my God. They're still getting nades back by 3 teams.
This is like, somebody just please shoot your guns at us finally.
Oh, no, they're running into a team as well.
Yeah, this is full 11 gone. Your first place team from yesterday meets an untimely end in game number 2. Was the first squad to be eliminated. Never having a fair chance at life.
Remember what I said about NSTAs is once you get in, that's fine. But if you lose a player, getting out is equally as hard. That's what ends up happening. You get shot by the 3 teams already set up. As DKK, the winner of game number 1, comes down to knock with 1 HP, and they get eliminated in 19th, I believe. That is a rough game 2. The first game will definitely pad them up to make sure that the rest of the series is okay. But not how you want game 2 to go after that phenomenal game 1.
And we gotta call it out that Freethinkers are the ones to do it. My boys, Freethinkers, just keep on high rolling, finding another big squad to eliminate. DKK at the top of a lot of people's power rankings. I think, I'm not remembering who on the Apex the podcast, but somebody was putting them in elite tier. DKK, definitely a team that a lot of people have their eyes on, and meeting their ends at the hands of Freethinkers. Again, another Apex the podcast reference, but I know Enoch is going to be happy with this.
Yeah, most definitely. Gamblers, though, 20th currently. Hated tends to get really low, but should be fine with that phase from the Wraith. Do like the changes to Wraith, by the way. If people haven't played the new changes, she can actually phase a little bit, and then she can double jump in it if you spec into it. Very nice change, because, hey, we love mobility. Give everybody mobility.
It's pretty good. I mean, movement speed, movement ability, always one of the best things that you can have in, I think, almost any game. Something that Carter could certainly use a little bit more of is he does get insta-sprinted at, but manages to pop back into his portal and get out. Worth noting that S2, despite their rough start, have managed to basically full reset. And while they're on the corner of the ring, it's a pretty good position given where they were earlier.
I will say, from having rough game 1 into that start on game 2, they're making a good change right now. Didn't have that fully reloaded, probably would have gotten it down, but now gets traded instead.
Zach does manage to trade this back, but Audie's coming in with the push. S2, they are getting cooked, and it is all gamblers who go for the 50-50 and again roll high.
This is one of those things where when you're actually like shooting at people and you see that they're backing off, you get more confidence that we're gonna take them down. They run them down. It comes down for the 2v2 trade, but gamblers win that fight.
When I talked to Audie this week, he did say that Hated was an insane fragger, and the thing that he liked most about him is that he would just go for the play. But the difference there is that it's not just Hated going for this insane 50-50 play. Is no entry damage, comes out of a Wraith portal at half HP and takes the 1v1 anyway. The thing that really wins Gamblers that fight is that they're all right behind him. They go, you know what? I believe in this random 50-50 that you're taking. That's the kind of insane play that you need to come out ahead in Pro League.
Also very sad because he didn't have that R9 fully ready for that fight. Must have used it a little bit earlier and ends up losing that 1v1 duel on the side of S2. But it's going to be nice though. We've seen Freethinkers in general in this match pop off, taking out teams left and right. I actually want to see what the Freethinkers is thinking right now.
They're driving away, bro.
This turbine team isn't ring. Can you get... Go ahead and kill this turbine team here. You need to drive, dude. I think they're going power grid. I'm gonna scan them. Can you make sure when you're driving at them, you position me so I can like scan them with my 3x? I can tell you where they are. I can't see it. I don't see anything now. Yeah, they're there. They're coming there. They're coming there. Yeah. In front of me.
On the beacon.
Yeah.
I'm getting out.
Oh, bro.
Oh my god.
He's in the car. He got in car. They're running.
I killed it. It might burn. It might burn to death. It might burn.
Can we chase them? Bro, we can like chase them, bro. I think we can chase them.
I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, chase it. Yeah. They're weak. Yeah. One of them is like backing out shield on it.
Shoot.
Look at.
The car's one. Don't get out and give you but shield him. Get him.
I broke it.
Unbridled aggression from the Freethinkers. They are hunting medium rare down in the zone. That is the kind of aggressive play that I like to see, Graceful. What an insane way to play the game.
is starting to look like ranked in there. They're just running them down. Did you hear how sad he sounded when they got that bubble up? Oh, they got out. Come on, man. And they still sent it and just took him out. That's the type of confidence you need to have in Pro League, especially in the earlier days. That's where you have the room to make sure that you get as many KP as you can. But can they convert the KP into placement as well? That's what we saw a little bit of a struggle in the previous game, but the KP nonetheless is looking really solid from Freethinkers right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like you're saying, you do want to convert it into placement. That's going to be the sign, ultimately, of the best team in the ALGS. They're second right now. Freethinkers, just via kill points, are in second place. They are playing out of their minds in these early zones. The question really being, can they take that into the late zone? Can they take this edge of ring aggression and turn it into late game success? Team Liquid already positioned, at least partially, for the late game, as we do seem to be moving ever towards Gardens.
Zone pulling into Gardens. This is what I said before, Dia. Every team that is opting for growth towers is now going to have a harder time to get into the next zone once it pulls up, because you're going to get held out from DINOS most likely from the eastern side of things, as well as the teams that end up taking Elite Esports most likely, and JD Gaming are going to hold out everybody else trying to make their way up there. You don't have Alter anymore. If you don't have an evac, because I don't see a Valk alive currently, you're going to have a rough time running into absolutely everybody.
Yeah, the repositioning, not exactly the easiest thing for any team, with realistically things like Wraith and Catalyst being the way that teams are doing it. Ninjas and Pyjamas using the Wraith right now to, I assume, pick up banners based on where we're at the moment.
Oh,
and it doesn't seem like things are going too well for the Buckle Boys as they are taking the fight with Freethinkers. Gary is low. Jay's hunting him down, and on the scan, almost has him. Freethinkers go down as Jay finds two. Nice sprays with the R99.
Buckle Boys says, you want to fight? Let's fight. They take out Freethinkers, and that's kind of what I said. KP, but you got to make sure you can get more points later on into the game. Shopify Rebellion, a little bit quiet previously, now getting a couple of downs on the board. They got 2 downs so far against Hated as well, as you said, one of the fraggers that just makes plays. Shopify Rebellion showing incredibly before they were the team everybody talked about making plays.
What's happening with Zainu though? Shopify Rebellion taking a couple of fights at the same time, with Zainu actually going down to Oblivion, who come in from the side. Not quite managing their engagements so that they're just doing the one. Doesn't seem like Crazy Thieves are having too good of a time either. Verhulst Maggie Balls himself, and Crazy Thieves do not have the craziness working out in their favor. Buckle Boys will fall as well, and Team Liquid get to group up as the real beneficiaries of that whole situation.
Team Liquid managed to grab 2 KP, but people are trying to punish them. They're in a comfortable spot for the moment. They're not in the next zone, however. They're going to have to make another macro move, essentially, to make sure that they can get into perhaps one of those empty buildings. But should the team play that properly, might be able to hold them out. Nice wall coming out here. They even popped an evac. Hopefully they want to jump up on that balcony, making sure to say, hey, take your time. We have a wall up for a long time if we can get into that balcony.
Exactly. I really like the call after eating an EMP to just back away. Wall always allows you to make the play again, and if you don't, you'll find another way. You don't have to make the play right now. That's something that a lot of teams could keep in mind, something that Oblivion are definitely keeping in mind. A Shopify Rebellion suspect there's a squad behind them, but because Oblivion are playing so small, not giving up any sense of what they're doing, Shopify can't afford to focus and over-invest on finding them.
This is the thing. On the eastern side of things, Shopify Rebellion is looking to just clean out somebody right here. Gets taken down. Are they going to get collapsed on by Oblivion? They're not on time. They get a reset right here. Oblivion, Shopify Rebellion are going to come up the hill most likely, run into DINOS, who's going to get pinched, and then Stallions is also holding them out. So at this point, it comes down to who do we actually send? Does it going to go the same way as that Valk play we saw in the last game? Or are they just going to have to brawl their way in against several teams?
Well, Oblivion pull off the respawn. It's worth noting that NIP, who came in for, like I said, sort of cheekily, maybe the banners earlier, actually did get the banners and actually did get a reset. So NIP are positioned pretty well towards Gardens, having a second chance at life, while Oblivion, like you mentioned, are going to have to make their way up the hill into what appears to be sort of a no-win situation, or a Kobayashi Maru for any Star Trek fans.
I mean, it looks like Shopify Rebellion is taking the fight to them, as it's a brawl between JD Gaming, Oblivion, and Shopify Rebellion. 3v3v3 right now. Who comes out on top?
Floating drops down to the low ground just to really hard deny this to Oblivion, who look to push anyways. The Thuggets go down while all this is happening, so this zone claiming a lot of lives, but Oblivion, they've got a little bit of time here. Zone starts closing in, and finally they're going to be pushed into a building, but even here, maybe they can find some success. I say it as they burn to death. Blinkster last alive, gets the shield bat off, but Floating wants to finish this kill. Nade in the doorway buys Blinkster a little bit more time. Reset's not able to go off just yet, but JDG have got other issues with Shopify Rebellion right next door. DINOS will go down. Every placement point mattering here. Team Liquid fall as well. The longer you stay alive, the better it is. Floating moves up, finds another knock on Shopify, and as Shubi looks for the finish, we could see the end of Shopify Rebellion right now.
Shopify Rebellion had a good start to take that, but they actually go out first as Oblivion is still somehow alive inside. JDG is looking to reset right now. Floating made a huge play right there. That swing on the stairs by the team was so good. Right now, they're looking to clean up Oblivion to then rotate, but they only got a couple of seconds. Oblivion goes out. Let's get that loot real quick and see if we can make it out to the other side.
Yeah, they got it. The fact that Oblivion managed to pick up one of the kills on Shopify Rebellion there, also huge. They managed to move up 3 placements in that time with just Blinkster alive and then pick up the final kill. Really fantastic turnaround from what could have been an absolutely no-win situation. Speaking of no-win situations, Stallions are in one right now.
Oh! I mean, Alvis just no armor for some reason, 1 HP, trying to make it happen, gets it out. I think he was trying to get the roof and play on top of the roof. Very risky play. JDG managed to get in, but gets taken out on the way.
NIP getting slid on. This could be the end of NIP. January finds that first knock. Rock's overlooking all of this, actually watching the exit for NIP. Likely not going to happen again, but remember, we got those Wraith buffs, so actually manages to make this work, letting his teammates have a safe escape with the portal. NIP get to reset again.
You're talking about that split with Sasha against JDG and having success. We see them right there. This is their game to win. Should they be able to hold out the team on the east side? Revival in that small building. Will we see Rock Esports take home this win? If they play space properly, it's looking very likely.
NIP down, and like you say, Rock sort of needed to take a page out of NIP's book from last game, take as much space as possible, something that Elite Esports are doing quite well.
Yes. Elite taking all that side angle, saying there was one member of Rock Esports that tried to play space. Elite Esports denies that right now. They own more than 50% of this zone, as you can see right here on the minimap. Revival and Rock are actually forced to fight first. However, should Revival be able to play on the outside? It's not looking likely. They don't have a Gibby. They don't have a Newcastle. They do have a Catwall. But is it enough to survive long enough for the other teams to fight?
Elite, notice 5-star coming out of the open. Could move straight from the open to a win in the second day of Pro League. Rock wipe out Revival incredibly quickly, though, and that forces Elite to make a move now. Trying third party. Well, the third partying is good. Out goes the Maggie Drill. In goes the ball. That is huge from Dark. So much damage. He finally manages to pick up the win with a little bit of assistance from the outside. And Elite fry that end game.
I'm not gonna lie, the way that Rock defended themselves against that push from Madness was phenomenal. They barely took any damage and insta-wiped them. However, Elite showing exactly how to play that Maggie. Hits the humongous ball and just sprays into the corner, does so much damage and cleans up that game. And that's the difference you can see right there. They decided to play all the space, force Revival to, they didn't have a place, like a play to make. Revival decides to opt for the second place positioning with extra KP. Got absolutely stomped. However, still happy with that placement points overall. We see the split of 21, 17, 12. All of them are probably more than happy with this placement.
Yeah, Dark, click that, put it on Twitter. That's the first place that should go. That was an incredible endgame for Elite, given how aggressive they were able to get. And again, we know this win means a lot to them. Like we said, just coming out of the open, managing to qualify into PL, they make the right calls at the right times and assert themselves at the top of the lobby in game number 2.
I mean, we've seen it all. We've seen a Maggie ball from Verholz to his own face. We've seen a Maggie ball into 3 people and pop off from Elite Gaming right there. So, great game 2. I will have to say, though, we see a little bit of kill-heavy teams in the likes of, you know, Freethinkers and also, I believe, the Buckle Boys who took them out. Is that enough to, like... It's consistent because they're strong at fighting, but if they go out early all the time, is it enough to place even in top 5 here?
I can see you at war with yourself, Grace. You're like, well, it's technically consistent, but it's not really consistent. But we're gonna go back and forth on this a couple of times. One thing that they've really relied on is their mechanics, and if you are a fan of mechanics and mechanical beings, it's time for you to maybe get a piece of one of our most exciting partnerships to date. We've partnered with Bandai Namco to create Gunpla model kits after some of our legends. The in-game event, yes, is over, but you can still enjoy the Gundam Gunpla crossover. Head over to playapexshop.com and check out these limited edition model kits inspired by Crypto, Valkyrie, and Alter. And if you're just looking to perhaps win, or like the gamblers, gamble, you can always pop over to Play Apex Esports on Instagram, where we are giving away 2 of them. You'll head over to our page and comment on the appropriate post for your chance to win Crypto or Alter colored Gunplas. There's no purchase necessary, and you can read all of the rules and eligibility information over on our website. Head over to Instagram at Play Apex Esports for your chance to win and perhaps enjoy mechanics in a slightly different way as we take a break for a little bit of water and some free thought before heading into game number 3. 3.
Red Bull is giving wings to the ALGS and the Apex community.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back to the ALGS Pro League. My name is Rain Day. I'm joined here with Dia for game number 3 to finish off Olympus today. And Dia, we got Elite Esports taking game 2. It was a really, really decisive Maggie ball inside a room that kind of sealed the deal there for them. But that was some good play on top of some other good decisions to get to that point in the first place.
There are a few moments in Apex with the amount of games that I've watched that almost stop me in my tracks, that keep me from producing the appropriate words to finish a sentence, but that was one of them because my jaw just fell open with how amazing that must have felt to hit and then to win the game as well. I mean, we really talked this up, but Elite played a fantastic game. How many teams have we seen, Rain Day, that get caught off guard by how quickly Rock took that fight and aren't able to third party in time? Elite were all over that.
Yeah, and that was the thing too, because you're pressing a fight that you know is happening, and you're basing it off of kills, not necessarily vision. You see the kills start or the knocks start happening in your scoreboard, and then all of a sudden you push, and you're kind of pushing in blind. You know there's a little advantage, but you don't know where, and so to seize it so perfectly with them just in that little end of the alley of the room, kind of like a bowling ball set up just to get that spare and move on into the 10th frame and strike it up. It was a perfect play from Elite Esports. Going into game 3, I do have a fun stat for you though, Dia. Elite Esports actually have taken the most damage out of any other team in this lobby, so much so that their damage plus minus is negative 2,708. Just to put it in comparison, the second place team in that game, Rock Esports, right behind them, it was 332 positive damage. So these guys are rocking the negative 2,000s, negative 3,000 so far. Yeah, they're willing to take some shots and get back and come back a little stronger.
My brain is like working overtime to try and figure out how that's possible. Right? Because surely that's one of the stats that we associate with winning, right?
Right.
When you're positive, when you're dealing more damage, because if you're not, then you're taking mostly losing trades. How does that translate into? I think we have to take a closer look at this squad. That's what I'm thinking.
Interesting.
Are they thermiting themselves?
I don't know. 4th in kills with 10 kills overall in the day. Some interesting facts there. We'll have to pay attention to how Elite Esports are coming across these numbers, but leading in the most damage being dealt to them by far, but also just got to win. That's elite. If I'm looking for mottos or taglines, call me up, guys. I got a few more of those in the tank I can throw to the marketing team. But Dig and Kay and Dark, they're going to be happy with just getting wins on the board. That's their job. And, it does also showcase Dia a chance to kind of look at, teams that are up and coming and starting to make their names fell, and also compositions as well. How do you like what they're rocking here with the Seer, the Maggie, the Caustic? I feel like Maggie's, we kind of saw that coming with Gibby, but did you see the Seer coming? And how have you felt about Seer in this meta right now?
Yeah, I felt like Seer was coming for a little while. We even saw him pick up some popularity before Champs. One of the best things about Seer is for aggressive compositions, the ability to keep teams down. You even mentioned it, I think it was when we were in EMEA, but the micro silences that come in, a small but important part of Seer's kit that really limit the options, especially for legends that might otherwise get away with things. I'm thinking especially of Wraith or legends like Horizon. The fact that Seer is able to shut that down, not only defensively, as a lot of people would think looking at his kit, but aggressively when enabled by squads like this is really, really impactful, especially at the professional level.
And let's just go back to, is it a little bit of like the part of you that subconsciously knows that Seer was and used to be the best counter to Gibraltar, because he could not only silence you, he could stop all your healing, stop you from rezzing with that focus of attention. But they've obviously changed that, so it's a little more fair to our Gibbies out in the world now. But man, oh man, maybe teams just saying, there's still a benefit of stopping somebody from not throwing the perfect dome shield right on time when they want to, and delaying that a little bit with a silence. We might be able to get what we need done in that time, and certainly have done so on the lead side as we check in with DINOS here early in a building, setting up with some Watson fences.
To the single person that had DINOS eliminating Crazy Thieves in 20th, you may now tick that off your bingo card, because it certainly wasn't me. That was a very low percentage play, at least in my imagination, but we tune in with them, and all of a sudden, it looks pretty easy. That Red Bull first strike coming fast and furious in the first couple of minutes of this game, and setting teams off to a good start. That's one thing that has stayed remarkably true across the games that we've gotten so far, Rain, is that all the teams that people predicted to be at the top of the Pro League, they're dying in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, you know, I mean, kind of setting the right tone is important for so many teams. One of the things you did to help set the tone to start the season, you actually chatted with a couple of our pros heading into this weekend.
Yeah,
I did. So
Coming
this was something
PSQ,
where...
I arguably want to say that we were like the best team. Like we were the most consistent, and I think our lowest placement in scrims ever was like 13th. Like we were always top 3, top 5.
And there was a little bit of a moment from Dig Vibes that you had a chance to catch up with. Talk to me what it was like chatting with him as he was getting his confidence ready for getting into these fights. As we see a little skirmish here on the outsides, trying to finish up here, and some good trident movement as well. But
I think he actually
negative
might get out.
Yeah, he might get out, but negative still is on the hunt. And that might just be the end of that story. He's going to get away for now. But yeah, walk me through talking to Dig. How was that?
Yeah. I mean, it was a very nice experience. Dig is a wonderful person to speak to, as DKK do fall to the zone, unfortunately. But to see his re-entry into Pro League and the journey there, you talk about confidence. It's so palpable with these teams. Teams like Shopify Rebellion showcasing it right now. But it's so difficult to have that as a player, as a team who does get into Pro League, then gets shut down. Re-entering into that, so important for them. And like you heard in the voice clip, the fact that they were the best team, in their opinion, coming out of the open, really powering a lot of that. So I think that this win in Game 2, super important to keep that going in Pro League. That's where we see a lot of teams that qualify out of preseason qualifiers, out of the open, fall short, is you do so well, and then all of a sudden you aren't able to win games. And that difference maker of Elite winning a game, absolutely the biggest thing for them in their future projections for the season.
Yeah, I mean, that level of confidence, too, and it's so early, you get the, you know, as they would say, kind of monkey off your back, where you just don't have that pressure of, well, we need to get our first win in the real league, the real show, and now they've done it. And that benefit is you don't ever have to worry about that again. And it's not because that's a big deal. You're still going to have to go and perform every day. But in the opposite scenario where you don't get the win, and now it's day 3, day 4, day 5, you've not gotten a win, and you're starting to say, I mean, are we going to get a win? At this point, it's halfway through, and we haven't. That starts to weigh on you. So luckily, they won't have that problem to deal with, but still, a lot of improvement. These teams, as we're seeing, are going to keep adjusting to the meta, Dia, and the meta is going to keep being redefined each and every weekend, depending on what works best.
You know, one of the things we should keep in mind with this squad is that while last time that Dig qualified to Pro League, he was not IGLing, this time he is. And that's definitely given a player that was heralded as a fragger coming out of the Challenger circuit and the Pro League quals, this fragger a lot more autonomy. And that's something that I've heard from a couple of players moving into this split, moving into this season, is actually like Blinkser, who was also a fragger, became an IGL because it gives you so much more autonomy over your game. That skill set, ridiculously important. And the IGLing clearly coming through for Elite as well. They have predicted this zone dead to the center of it with very little information compared to other squads. Teams like Freethinkers could theoretically get that, although we know they're just going to run at squads. And Rock over at Gardens could get that info as well. I'm noticing Shopify Rebellion with a ring console and Gamblers and Revival fighting over one at Summers University.
Yeah, and Rock, you know, obviously having access to those consoles and being able to see where players were, might have just seen the ring, but also at the same time seen where players were, noticed that some of the buildings they would have wanted, maybe a little occupied, so they just stayed in Gardens to see if anything would open up or change. But now they're making their rotation and they're trying to move past Elite Esports. And you can see there's a little bit of a shots fired from Elite Esports. You'll see their names light up and kind of trigger there. And now you can see it here, Elite and Rock. And this is a very close coincide, and I don't think they want to live here. And Rock, they lose one. Cersei actually goes down. It's a focus of attention right back onto Dig, and Dig gets silenced out, and that's going to slow him down as well. And they're all just going to kind of poke and prod, but no one's going to make the final move yet.
Yeah, it was a big opener by Rock, but Insta-Catalyst Wall just stops the entire push. You can really see the power of that legend in the way that Rock are able to stabilize. Still not a comfortable position for them, but these teams can coexist for now. I am not saying the same of anybody near Freethinkers, because Freethinkers aren't exactly the coexisting kind of squad. Negative likely going to go for this peak, but that's predicted, and he gets shut down by the Buckle Boys.
Nice Maggie ball as well, splits into one. And it looks like at least, but it's just one coming right back at him, and it takes him down. Whoa! Cruel Buckle on the Maggie, a slide into the final spray. That looks like a final boss to get through, and they're not going to beat this level. They go down, Buckle Boys with a cleanup there, and that's 17 squads left remaining as Kuzme, Jay, and Cruel Buckle find the answer to a pretty difficult problem.
That's the second time that the Buckle Boys have taken out Freethinkers. I think we found the Freethinkers kryptonite. They can kill any squad in the lobby, but they run into they can literally kill teams that are competing for the World Championship, but they run into the Buckle Boys. It's over.
That's right. You got to know your matchups. You got to know your matchups. Any fighting game fans, they'll understand that one as well. You got a double Maggie drill, which is so impactful. You can make it longer and you can make it do more damage, but the double has just got so much more coverage. In a situation like this, it means there's nowhere to go. Focus of attention as well. They've got the Maggie ball, but they don't want to use that aggressively right now unless they're going to full commit onto it. And see that shot from the corner? That's another thing, Dia, that's probably slowing him down. They know there's some teams having some eyes on this fight, and even if they win that fight, well, will they stabilize fast enough if a team tries to push them? That's the other question. And it goes back to the conversation, Dia. What has happened here? Because they were about negative 200 damage so far in this game. They're back up to 52. Are we seeing a little bit of why they can somehow be in the negative thousands of damage? This kind of back and forth with Elite where they poke, but then they pull back?
I'm definitely seeing it now. I like that you draw that line between last game and this, because Elite do seem really willing to go on these extended plays, and much like we saw from S2 in game number 1, pull back when it feels like they need to. That can't hurt you. It can mean that you end up taking a lot of chunks. And I think the important thing to look at for Elite here is that it also means you're running out of meds. Sitting in zone at this point can really hurt. Rock, we know, should be running low as well, but just because it's bad for Elite doesn't mean it can't be bad for Rock too.
That's true. I mean, you got to think about how much do they have there, and especially even to just be operating in the negatives. Rock particularly getting the worst end of that trade by about 5 times in terms of damage dealt and damage that they have dealt compared to Elite. So Elite still in kind of the driver's seat, but as you noticed on that, as we walk along with Revival, they aren't the only teams ready to try to push into zone. Revival coming from the south side. Elite also have Liquid on the north side pushing near them. But on Madness, January Mellow on this squad, Madness has been desperately trying to find that team that just is his squad, that really meshes after Furia disbanded last year. And Keon and squad Faxlon went their separate ways. This is Madness wanting to find that for himself. And January Mellow seem like the guys that can do it with him.
It's an interesting strat to take, and I'm curious if it works out for Madness, who, like you mentioned, has previously found success with these extremely experienced players, and sort of using that as a way to be a little bit more hands-off as an IGL. When you're picking up fraggers like January and Mellow, you have to be a little bit more hands-on, and this will be an interesting test for Madness's IGLing. What kind of IGL is he? How flexible can he be? Right now, perhaps the rotation not planning out exactly as they had imagined, but they will go out after the Buckle Boys, who fell before them. And Revival, unfortunately falling. We'll get another chance, but over on Storm Point.
Yeah, 3 points for this game. I think they made it into the top 4 last game, so decent for them, and should be about 17 points overall, but everything is still pretty close here as we wrap up Olympus. 13 squads left. Oblivion, this year's champions of the ALGS, or rather last year's champions, defending it this year. And over on the north side, Zach, Mazer, Loader, and Carter, who had a win yesterday. And a pretty decent performance playing in zone, showing some discipline and patience across Storm Point. Let's see if they can put one together here on Olympus.
Bit of a tough spot for Oblivion right now, as Blinkzer's basically out of long-range capability. He's got no more energy ammo after this mag and the Nemesis, and is sitting with a lot of ammo in his R99, but that's not going to help them from here. R99's effective range, perhaps a little bit closer, and that is a place that Oblivion will have to move up to, as this ring seems to be converging right on top of Grow Towers, where Team Liquid have landed themselves.
And a lot of discipline there as well. They wait, only use the Newcastle cooldowns, and I think that then comes out the Gibraltar bubble, and so, you know, they use everything, but again, patience initially, Panic going, what do we need to do here to hold on to this? Sykes, half health in terms of meds. And he's got something, but he's going to pop an ultimate accelerant again. And you can see it being rushed. He took one, and then he's taking another. That's rushed just in case that team says they're down with ult, they don't have it, tries to push. Could be a nice little bait if that ends up working out, because he'll pretty much have it right about now. As we go back to Oblivion, Monsoon taking out Chaos Feelings, and Blinks are in the corner, hiding behind some caustic barrels.
Literally 8 ammo left for him. 1.5 mags left for Monsoon. You can believe in this squad all you want. This is a rough position. Oblivion are in a do or die spot, and them moving up to these death boxes is a rotation they must survive. This has some much needed resources. Carter goes on the aggressive from S2. Zach really letting Carter play quite aggressively, as we've seen. Elite Esports will go down meanwhile, but Oblivion stabilize. S2 want this.
Yeah, but look at this. Blink has put them into potentially a situation they can get out of it, but they're gonna have to go back in.
They're panicking
and kind of chain this back and forth. Both Wraiths using the portals, just saying, I dare you to take a different position. And in that way, they both kind of separate from each other and call it square for now.
Carter may still be able to finish them off.
Wow.
There's a little bit more damage that's needed. Ninjas in Pyjamas going to fall before that, though, and Oblivion, against the odds, seem to have found enough time to stabilize. We'll see what the kill feed has to say about that, but at least for the moment, S2 seem to have lost control of the engagement. They almost took out the world champions.
Great use there. You could see the phase dome adjustment from Wraith coming into her new kit as an upgrade that was released in this latest patch and putting it to good use. Although sometimes the stalling out of a situation like that doesn't create an immediate advantage. And that's where I think it's just going to take a little time for our players to really utilize it. Speaking of no time, MT goes down. Alberlelli and Stallions here getting aggressed on by Medium Rare, but doing a good job of kind of bouncing back. Alberlelli falls. Slayer has one shot left, but Medium Rare eliminated, and Skittlecakes finds a way to do it. Sacred and Alberlelli stay alive and fight along just a little longer for Stallions.
Another squad with basically no ammunition. S2 are running extremely low and have to face off against the newly replenished Oblivion. Rocker gonna go down as S2 played a little bit to cover. They actually see Team Liquid on the low ground, but Team Liquid can't even look at them because they're getting pushed with Panic on 1 HP and finally taken down. JDG win the fight for Grow Towers, and S2 are keen to third party. Naughty swings behind Lauder.
Wow.
Who still manages to find a near one clip. Lauder doesn't manage to clutch it, and he's down.
Floating, what a play. Floating keeps him alive after all of that. You would have thought S2 should have just pushed right away. I think they hesitated. And I really think if you look that back, there had to have been a half a second faster, but it doesn't even matter. When Floating was full health, they did not track him, and he came in and spoiled that party. What a play from Floating to keep their hopes alive. And JD Gaming, when we talked about him after round 1, we're certainly talking about him potentially as winners of game 3, but they've got a lot more to do than what they just did to take that title.
What is going on with this game? Everyone has no ammo. KG just ran out of ammo on his rampage. Shopify Rebellion are down. JD are out. Thuggets underneath Source Gaming also have no ammo. We've got... Why is nobody picking up ammo? What's happening?
I agree with you. I think it's just Grow Towers has just such limited resources. Everyone's moving there. There's a lot of open space to get there, and people aren't looting on the way to it. And it just feels like the economy is low from the very beginning. This is strange, though, D. We're going to have to try to investigate. Maybe one of you in the chat is going to give us the great answers for why the great ammo drought of Game 3 has occurred.
Sacred's got the answer. Check him out. Infinite ammo perk has never looked so good, ladies.
That in a game like this, that's a major advantage. And Stallions knows it. So I feel like Alberlele, he's confident. They're going to take the push. And that's one of the Gibraltar bombardments. And there's another one. So 2 should give a lot of coverage there. We'll see what they can make of it.
Right now trying to push up. Sacred, however, going down. Should just be the end of Stallions. He's the one with the big power-ups, and Blink should be able to clean this up as well. This does open them up to a third party, though. Wow. Stallions will fall, but Oblivion, with just 2 members left, surely are attracting some kind of attention, but Source don't feel comfortable pushing up, and Thuggets don't either. We gotta remember, these teams are out of ammo, and now Oblivion have the high ground. Our world champions may be championing once again. Source dropped down to fight the Thuggets. Both Gibby bubbles used. You gotta imagine Oblivion. They're looking at this. They're licking their lips. They're taking game number 3.
Oh, Oblivion. Man, they run and make sense of the chaos. That was looking like a beautiful, like, just, I don't know, well in the desert. Everything was dry all over the map. No ammo, no resources, and all of a sudden they see that and licking your lips like, oh, I could drink water. I have salvation. And just the bounty that has come before me. Wow, thank you so much, guys, for fighting right in my direction. And, you know, Monsoon probably have a laugh at that one, but also I think Oblivion did a great job to get there. Stallions pushed them, Dia, and that was a aggressive push. I think they felt confident about it. They used the Gibby bubble to take the position and then throw the ultimate down. But then when it came to the fight, they did not have the Gibby bubble to play around, and also trying to aggress where Alb had thrown his ultimate. That also wasn't something that they were really successful in doing. So Stallions set up a good defense by Oblivion, but again, world champions for a reason. These guys, they're looking good, they're playing good. What else can you ask for?
I mean, this is something that, again, came up in the preseason talk with Blinkser, but this is a triple M&K squad, and if there's one thing that a triple M&K squad has to be elite at to win a world championship, it's keeping teams from getting in close range with you. We did see a nice play, some nice cooldowns expended out of Alberlele to try and close the gap. Let Sacred get close to Oblivion, where he really can't cook. That's why they picked up Sacred. But Oblivion are top tier at keeping squads away from them. That's the really important thing to keep in mind.
Pretty incredible. I love it. And when you look at the stats of 3 games gone by on Olympus, which I've really enjoyed watching, hopefully you guys at home have enjoyed watching Olympus. I think it's been a ton of fun, giving us a different look to ALGS competitive. Oblivion, with that, have jumped 8 places and moved on into first. NIP have still been so consistent. They found themselves in second alongside JD Gaming, Rocky Sports right behind. So there's a lot of good Apex being played. North America barely separating themselves right now. They're going to have a chance to take a break and get ready for a map swap. And in that duration of that halftime, while they're preparing, we'll have another special guest that we bring on the show to talk Apex Legends, pros, meta, and maybe, you know, tease them a little bit, because that's what I like to do. We'll see you after the break and find out who it is. Sony InZone, the official audio and monitor partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Charged and ready.
Quit farting about, would you?
Just give me a shot and I'll shine like the sun.
Follow me. Can't catch what you can't see. Enemy drone here. My light shines bright.
Hey, let's have fun, friend.
Beauty is pain.
This is gonna be fun, brother.
All right, we're back, and yes, it is halftime at the ALGS Day 2 here in split number 1 for year 6. Man, all the numbers, put them all together, you just gotta get used to it, guys. I'm Renee. I'm joined by Graceful and Dia as always for these days of our match day 2, and we still got 3 more games to go, but a lovely halftime in between is upon us where we get to relax and talk shop here, especially when it comes to ALGS. Got some patch notes we're going to cover, and we got a special guest as always, guys, that we bring in from the community to help make sure that you guys get featured, those who are giving back to Apex. Now, this guy right here, he's given a lot to Apex. He's been working in front of the scenes to start out. You might have seen his videos on YouTube, but you've maybe not put together the videos and the editing and the production that he's done at our actual live events over these last years. He tries to sneak on desk as much as possible. I have to literally say, dude, there's no more seats in the green room because we have like 30 people in here. And he's like, Rain, come on, why are you always picking on me? It's because I know this guy is just going to take my favorite seat. That's why. I know. He's taking my seat. That's the problem. All right, all jokes aside, the lovely Jumbo joining us. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, guys? How's it going? I miss all of you, and it's definitely not a joke. Rain has a seat in every single green room, and he gets upset if anyone takes it. I see him coming. I pick up my laptop. I'm like, I'm moving before he says anything.
Yeah. Got to work with Vicky to get like her 17 laptops and papers and desk stuff all off the chairs. You know, we got to open it up. Hey, man, you know, it's great to have you here. I know we've got a lot of great games over this week. What's been going on with you? I mean, tons of content, I'm sure, to cover since championships and obviously working at champs. I mean, what's been these last couple months heading into the split for you, and what have you been up to?
Oh, dude, Champs was just, the whole thing felt like a movie that the last 2 months, I've just been working on a whole Monsoon doc and Oblivion doc on their win that I literally just finished yesterday and threw it up immediately. It's been, and the reception's pretty cool about it. That was a fun one to make. It was a really, probably my favorite video I've got to work on.
That was one of my favorite things about the champs win as well, is like immediately it kicked off a lot of stories. As a content creator and as a storyteller in the space, because you do so many like YouTube videos that are like meant to get traction. Like, what did you think about the Monsoon storyline? Because like Fun and Blinkser also have their own. So how did you balance telling those, like raising up Monsoon as a hero while also bringing in like these two storylines that are important but don't have as much content behind them?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of content behind those two guys where I'm potentially going to do like a video on them specifically as well, because the thing is I got to definitely bring a lot about them up in the last year of Monsoon's career, but the Monsoon video was probably the most requested video I have had in the entirety of my YouTube channel. So it just felt like I had to do something specifically on him, and I felt that way. I was like, how do I make sure to still give these guys the credit they deserve? Like Oblivion Blinkser went crazy at LAN, so I might do something separate for them, because that was a tough thing, Dia.
You know, I want to let Graceful get in on these questions, but I also want to move to a segment we wanted to talk about, so maybe I'll let you two wrap on this. Patch notes. We had a big mid-season patch coming up into this split. I know you've been talking about it. Grace, I know we've been seeing it. Anything to get Jumba's thoughts on his ideas on the on this patch, and maybe something that you've been focusing on, Grace? Want to hear how Jumba thinks that's impacting it for the season.
I mean, we're seeing across the board, in my opinion, very hard ability creep. Like, we're seeing momentum boost on Gibby, movement to the thickest boy in the roster. That's something for me that's always a question mark. But the addition of elite weapons, in my opinion, already from the RE and now when we're moving into the Hemlock, have felt really good. Obviously incredibly strong, despite the nerf, still the most picked primary weapon on the board. However, I would like to say that they're getting us to pick up new weapons instead of just running the same loadout over and over again. But I would like to say, a little bit of a hot take, do we really need weapon racks anymore when all the weapons is pretty much viable at this point? I don't know.
Jumbo?
I mean, I'm going to jump in before Jumbo. I think it's really nice, especially for new players, because new players, the one thing they do is pick a favorite gun. So, you know, weapon rack's pretty good. I don't know, Jumbo. Maybe you feel different.
I mean, I always did like when weapon racks weren't around, for the purpose that it felt like teams had to fight for a little bit more RNG, but it's definitely made it where the game's always more consistent now. So I'm like in between. I don't know what to like really say on it. I don't think you guys are going to like. I don't pick a side.
You know what? The reality is Apex has changed. Back in year 1 and 2, it's not the same game anymore. And people were new enough to where every gun and everything you found was so fun. And oh man, I didn't get a shield this time around. It's year 7. Everyone knows how to slide jump, wall bounce, 360, no scope. And it's just really hard when you can't play and get the experience of Apex. I think the designers are doing a good job with making it more accessible, but I hear some of the complaints, Grace, on your end, but I just think let everyone give what they want. People want to play Apex because it feels good and it's fun, and we want to get them to that moment as soon as possible. Okay, that's what I got to say on this. I want to though talk about Gibby, because he has been maybe the mainstay. You've seen it in teams with Hal. You've seen NIP picking it up. Talk to me about how you feel Gibby has impacted certain squads to succeed. What types of players, what types of teams do you think in this meta, Jumba, are having success or will have success in your eyes?
Yeah, the reason I actually even brought this up with the Hal and Vayne comparison here is mostly because of characters like Gibby and more of these support characters with like really complex abilities coming into meta. These IGLs have to build a roster around how they play so differently. Like Hal needs someone who can play Crypto, Newcastle, Gibby, like Waltzy, whereas Vayne can play that himself, and so he's able to go for some more of those fragger characters. So I brought this topic up because I want to see what you guys thought about, like, if Hal, for example, needed to find someone to replace Waltzy, do you think he'd go for like a fragger like Koiful, Panic, or do you think he'd go for someone who's more flexible like a Zapdo, a Vaxlon?
If I'm going to step in here first, I think that we kind of got this question answered in EMEA with the whole Aurora Alliance question, because like everybody would look at Effect and go, well, that's just a fragger. You just put that guy on whatever like frontliner you want and you haven't run at people, but he's the one anchoring now. And so I think that generally you favor mechanical skill and honestly fragger abilities, especially with upcoming players, because you can always train a player to play anchor, but it doesn't necessarily work the other way around. You can't always train an anchor player to shoot their gun.
That is a really good point. My big thing about it, and like we had this conversation with Hal on our podcast, is that some of those characters that have really complex abilities, like a Crypto, like a Newcastle, not that they're hard characters, just they take a different way of thinking. You need those support characters. They have way more perceived value than they ever did in Apex before. And like, you're right. The thing is, Waltzy was trained to be like that. He was a fragger. He top fragged at LAN before. And now because of that, I think he's like one of the most valuable players in the game because he can do both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You actually hit the nail on the head there as well. Sorry to, get your final thought in here, Dave, before we wrap up and get into game 4.
No, I was just thinking, yeah, like I think that's a perfect example, right? You can train one skill. I think you were going to echo that, Rain.
Yeah, definitely. This is clearly where value shifts and goes down. I think Gaming Gladiators, they're a team that excelled in the Newcastle Catalyst meta when it really initiated, and then you saw them really lose a lot of value in the overall ecosystem of Apex Legends pro teams over this last year when we expected them to be successful, but the meta had shifted. And so I think that's the natural ebb and flow of this thing, but always fun to see how it impacts people positively and how it doesn't. I like the Vayne and Hal comparison you brought, Jumba. More of those ideas on your YouTube channel. More of those hopefully with you joining us over on the Split. I'm sure at LAN when you're there, hopefully joining us on the desk as well, man. It's been great to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us during halftime.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me on. Always a blast.
All right, that's Jumba right there. You guys go follow him on Jumba at YouTube and, of course, all socials. He'll be talking Apex Legends. And Dia, Graceful, it's time to get into game 4, so take it away.
All right, well, Graceful, now that I've got you here alone, I know that we were just kind of, we know the game is coming up. We have to get into the game. But now that it's just us, what did you think about that whole fragger thing? Like, when you're picking up a fragger or a support player, and like how those skills balance out? Are we aligned? Is it fragger to support player pipeline, or can you do the other way?
In general, when you're building a roster, from having built several rosters myself, right, you're mainly building around the IGL. So if the IGL is a frontliner favorable player like Hal, then you're gonna wound up to, like, you're gonna end up picking up anchor players mainly because he's already fitting the role that's needed on the team. Versus on the opposite side of the thing, as we saw as well, if you're more the one used to playing crypto, used to playing a little bit more of an anchor play style, let's just say, or the one who has to be grounded at all times, you're gonna opt to get more fraggers. However, I would like to say what you said about being able to, you know, anchor players might not be able to frag, but fragger players can't anchor. I would say I highly disagree with that, because this is one of the biggest things that all players say. Like, I've trialed so many players, trialed for so many teams, even for this current Pro League. I've even trialed for Pro League teams, where there's players that say, I can play every role. They can't play every role. There's so many fraggers that can't play anything but fraggers. So many anchors that can't frag, like you said. But I would like to say, though, the legend compositions is the most important, because that's not necessarily a trained or not trained. It's just a mindset shift.
Like,
and I think the best way... Yeah, exactly. The legend pool, because it takes you still have to put hours into a character. But if you only, like we said, if crypto gets banned, first out of every scrim block, you get 1 game on crypto, right? That's not a lot of reps in, unless you play several blocks, which most teams only play 1 or 2 blocks. So the biggest thing here, though, the mindset shift is that you go from having that I need to frontline, I need to frag because I'm a roller player, to now Waltzy having I can't get my drone broken, I have to place my Newcastle wall in the right direction or we immediately wipe. It's a completely different skill set to have, but very valuable indeed. So it comes down to the IGL, which piece of the puzzle are you building around? But I think equally as important.
This actually like perfectly transitions into something that I wanted to talk about but couldn't find a way to. It's sort of what we talked about in the EMEA show, where, like, you know, where are the old EMEA successful IGLs? I think that if I can equate this to like other terms that you'll see in gaming, that casters, casters like IGL casters are a dying breed. People who want to play crypto, people who want to play Gibby, people who want to use their abilities more than anything. I don't think that playstyle is a real playstyle anymore. I think it's something that we used to see really used because you needed a lot of game skill to avoid situations like this, which we will hold for because, well, Freethinkers are on our screen, and that means that a squad is going to die.
They are actually just running it down. Oh, who Omega breaks that door immediately, gets that down. Now, are they going to double swing together through the bubble? They are indeed.
Yes, they are.
Second down, and Slayer and Empty goes down real quick as you're chasing down the last player.
I need Freethinkers merchandise immediately. I love these guys. Picking up the 2 kills. Well, Empty is still yet to be picked up as a point. They are feeling mighty proud of themselves right now, I'm sure. And this team has just been on fire all day. The fact that it's not slowing down when we get to Storm Point, even better.
Yeah, I mean, seeing this like confidence run out through all the series so far into match 4 has been really good. They are currently sitting pretty far up, as long as they don't fall too early to the likes of the cruel buckle 1v3 special, essentially. However, looking at the zone here, though, Oblivion finding themselves once again in a great spot for this ending. We saw a zone nearby this area. Is this going to pull more into the waters this time? We'll have to see to the west of the eggs. Or is this going to go back towards the armory side? This does look like it's going to go a little bit farther towards the northern side. Gamblers, Liquid, Oblivion, NIP are currently really close to each other, and it looks like Gamblers is taking a beating right now.
Yeah, I can't be too comfortable up here, although as we saw yesterday in North America, you can play the rocks really far north of this zone if you'd like. It is going to depend heavily on what legend composition you have in your rotational options, however, and so the fact that Gamblers are running with a Valkyrie does let them play a little further north if they feel like that's the correct option. It's going to depend a lot on their weapons as well. Noticing Thuggets down in the south is one of our edge teams, and S2 playing out of Lightning Rod. I know that they were super happy about drafting this POI. I mean, it's just a slam dunk. You get first pick, you immediately grab yourself a great spot in Elrod, but playing it well, executing on Storm Point is going to mean a lot, because if you slam Elrod and then drop a couple of donuts, as you'd like to say, Graceful, that's where things get tough.
And slamming we shall be doing indeed. There's so many Valkyrie compositions in this game, whether you're running the Val Caustic Gibby, the Val Newcastle Gibby, or another iteration of some teams even running the Meat Boys. They're running the Newcastle Caustic Gibby as well. All of those teams are looking to slam something to then stabilize in an area that where they can play, where normally teams where you're not playing Newcastle or Gibby are able to play. So we're gonna see a lot of teams alive in this game comparatively to the matches on Olympus specifically, where people were opting to play hyper aggressively due to the team comps that were available at the start of the series.
Breach charge going a bit wide, but you know what? Pressure is pressure, damage is damage. Breach charge has been incredibly disruptive as well. I know that a lot of IGLs have talked about this as making it so much harder for zone teams to succeed, and yet, Graceful, we're still seeing zone teams do pretty darn well. I'd say maybe they've been nerfed a little bit, but zone is just such a hard thing to balance in Apex Legends because nothing beats just sitting there and farming Evo.
I mean, it is scary indeed. I think, though, the Hemlock alternate fire is actually crazy. We saw it on EMEA once where they managed to cancel a Valcold. But speaking of canceling stuff, the Seer from Negative is already in here. Freethinkers looking to fight another team, spamming that Seer Q to see if they can get a kill. They're literally running them down right now.
They're perma on scan. Cruel Buckle does get Ash tethered, but not one clipped. Follow up for Negative doesn't find him either. The Buckle boys have evaded Freethinkers so far. Freethinkers fighting their kryptonite, find the win finally.
They managed to take down the Buckle boys. They might have lost 2 for 3. They do take down this last engagement, and that's really good. They fought their kryptonite, came out on top. Is this the turning point for them to finally make it into endgame? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Who said what about whose mother? These squads are like,
wait, what?
This is like one of those things. Somebody must have offended somebody else for these squads to always be running into each other. That is honestly cinema, given what we've seen so far. I can't wait for them to do it again in game number 5, but for that we'll have to wait a few more minutes, and maybe Thuggets will be the next ones to run into Freethinkers. Them or DKK, who have already fallen to the Freethinkers once before and now have no bubble on their trident. With Stallions coming up behind, there's sure to be a fight around this Jurassic Ceto area.
This might be scary. Mind you, DKK currently sitting on 20 points, had a huge start with that win, right? After that, though, have been kind of quiet. We'll have to see if they can get a couple of extra points in there to put them more towards the upper end of the leaderboard. But so far, so good. They didn't go down. They still have an option for grabbing a couple of more Evos on the way as they ping one right now.
Let's take a look at the Red Bull first strike of this game, as it was, in fact, you know it, Freethinkers finding that last squad wipe. Their aggression paying off in spades, as I think if we actually tally it up, they've probably given us the most Red Bull first strikes of all of today.
Yeah, they've been literally running at people and then sounding so sad when they got away for the moment and then so happy when they got them again. Makes me really happy to see them. They're literally playing this like it's ranked at some point. And that's the thing, though. If they make it all the way to the end game, how many kills will they have?
I think you can kind of pull it off. Like, how are we pulling this off in an ALGS lobby? They try and follow it up. I can hear them right now going, bro.
However, the one who stands on top of the beast is floating. One player that you give him the finger, he takes the whole hand. He's not letting them come up for free. But Freethinkers, I'm not gonna say, dude, they're not Freethinkers. They're thinking one way, one railway. That's the only way they're thinking. Forward, we're fighting. That's what they're thinking right now. They're still trying to make this happen with that Seer Q spam and even zero Ash TP. They're just jumping on floating.
They might even take him down. Gary, he's just swinging. He doesn't care. Floating is down. Freethinkers, they know no limits. Orange gets to push in on this bubble as well. I know Negative is down, but Shubi can't sit in here forever. Freethinkers get the top of down Beast. They get the kill. They get a reset. You can't deny these guys. You're right. They're playing ranked in Pro League.
Although they do... Wait, they got fragged, I think. Yeah, they did get skynated, so one of them actually fell off. Now it comes down to a 2v2. However, I saw the other member potentially crawl. Not too sure if they actually got in on that.
JDG do have a reset.
Oh.
So this is now a 3v2.
Freethinkers is on the heels for the moment.
We're not respawning.
Are they just gonna opt to get the respawn, immediately fight again?
There's no way we're respawning here.
Gary is holding high ground, 1 versus 3. Can he hold them off, or is he gonna get absolutely inted?
Oh my god, Gary is my goat. Source Gaming are gone, by the way. I know that we got to focus on this, but Gary right now is running the lobby. He does drop down after doing an insane amount of damage. Does he fall? Oh, what a shot from Naughty!
Naughty gets a huge down, but almost goes down himself. Managed to reset in that bubble, though. Huge play for him as he comes down to a 3v2 once again. This fight has lasted for so long. Negative doesn't go down without a fight, but he gets one clip almost. And he goes down. It comes down to a 3v1 right now. JD Gaming coming out on top saying, hey, you're gonna push us, we're gonna fight. However, Rock hears this fight because he got extended for so long.
They are literally changing the course of this lobby. Freethinkers fall as Rock comically send them and move right on back to where they came from. The way that one team's playstyle manipulates the whole lobby, JDG are mad.
Oh my god, they're teabagging the box right now. Honestly, well deserved. Teabag that box right now. You're not happy with the way they're running at you. They're happy though to say we got a couple of KP and we're still alive in this game. Now, this zone doesn't hurt too much. We'll see the zone pull, however. Is it gonna pull more towards the water where Elite Esports is playing, or is it a little bit more in favor of Team Liquid and Gamblers? Gamblers this game rolled the dice, did not land on Snake Eyes, landed on double sixes. Very happy with this zone pull.
Yeah, this is going to be super nice for them. I do wonder where is their third. I only see two of them right now. Because that could be Snake Eyes.
Okay, they're praying for the random crafter.
Yeah, hoping that it drops down right next to them. I'll tell you what is dropping down right next to them. It's Stallions descending from the skies right now. Fortunately, not landing on the duo. Stallions do manage to reset, but sitting inside these bunkers, they could get close. I would not be surprised to see Stallions, and specifically Sacred, pick a fight. Stallions have been using Sacred a lot like Liquid use Panic. They send Sacred out, he takes the 50-50, and they send it.
We did see them fail to send Oblivion in the previous game where they came out on top, even as a duo versus a full trio. The way they played that game was really good. So we shall see if they're a little bit more clean with the setup and execution this time, because they'll definitely need it. If they lose against another duo, it's definitely going to hit the morale a little bit.
JDG resetting after popping their Valcult. I think they probably could have waited that cooldown out, but they chose not to, and you know what? That is their choice. It's a free country. JDG, however, are going to have to use Valcult to get into the next zone. One of the few options remaining to them that actually could keep them alive, because right now, unfortunately, fighting Thuggets and NIP is just not an option. For Oblivion, fighting at all is unfortunately the decision that they have to take. Floating is all over Fun, but he still manages to win the fight. Unfortunately, 800 nades are right on top of him, and Fun will not get out. Revival finish him off as they come in for the third party, taking out Future and finishing off 2 squads for the price of 1.
Get the full reset as well inside the armory. They might not be in the next zone, but they have enough loot to hopefully force their way in and or just rotate. We'll have to see. However, Oblivion, very sad for that. Nice fight, but JDG with that Valcult came straight out of checkpoint, landed where Liquid initially played, and now they're feeling really good, shooting down at everybody for the moment. They should be in the next zone, but the one after is where they actually have to move.
I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm going, how is this free? And I guess the answer is because so many teams have died, a spot that would normally not be free is being wrapped on by Team Liquid as they look to retake it. JDG must know that this is happening, but Liquid have played pretty quietly so far. Caustic Barrel will confirm JDG's suspicions that they do have another team moving back to their original position. And Liquid have got to play out of this building. Now, unfortunately, a little too close for comfort with JDG, who I should remind everybody have purple shields. Team Liquid have the information, though. How will they play with it? Let's find out as we jump into a listen-in with Team Liquid.
We're bottom. They bump a second. They're climbing back out.
Bottom, please, help me bottom.
Okay, I'm chilling. Guys, bottom.
I have no Q
right now.
No Q, no wall.
Yeah.
I'm popping also for wall, okay? They can't score a second. They can't score a second, but I don't have Q.
I mean, really down to the trench. At like 10 seconds, okay?
Yep. Which way do I need the wall?
I don't know. Probably just folds. No one should be behind us. Picking! I like 5 seconds to go. Okay? Oh, 10.
Alright. We're gonna wrap their zone, right?
Yes.
Contact with enemy.
3, 2, 1. Get in. Healing. You can play close and then go fall later. They might play bird bubbles.
Team Liquid initially tried to retake that positioning on height that they initially left, but are playing in the pit underneath them right now as JDG is trying to find some angle to potentially poke them out. We see a bunch of utility come out in the likes of Gibeol, but did you hear the way they were communicating right there? They're down a wall, they're down a bubble. The way you play the game Apex today is not the same as you did years ago. It is very ability heavy, as well as finding the same timing on the same page to triple swing a door. And hearing those communication right there from Team Liquid is actually very a breath of fresh air in my ears.
Yeah, I mean, it really worked out well for them. At least so far, they've managed to outlive at least one squad, and perhaps even will outlive full 11, who do not outlive this zone, unfortunately. Legatron's going to get cooked by this. Future might be able to survive. He's going to take to the skies and see Elite Esports playing the north side of the ring. Ninjas in Pyjamas wrapping through the south side. Thuggets, dead center of zone. And as NIP start to come up, they could look for a win here. Denied it in game number 1. NIP have got a lot of squads to clear out before they get to that point.
Cole with the absolute laser beam of RE45 gets that down right there, as well as Vayne gets it down with the Scout. Scout triple take combo gets it down on Stallions right now as they're looking to engage on them. Sacred gets absolutely beamed. It comes down to ALGS Skittles. Can they get the full reset, or is it going to come down to an easy wipe for NIP as it looks right now? The form from that first game is still holding true in match 4.
I mean, I like the way that Ninjas in Pyjamas played that. They see the Newcastle res coming out and go, you know what? We can wait this one. We've got this absolutely locked in. Crazy Thieves have no time to punish. Ninjas in Pyjamas wipe out yet another squad in their way. Medium Rare, however, look over all of that, see the bubble having been dropped down, and this whole south side is going to have to move. Medium Rare don't want to share space with Ninjas in Pyjamas, but again, we are going to the Thuggets, dead center zone. We are going to Team Liquid, JDG, and Rock, who are all piled up in the north.
They're going to have to fight for that pit right here in the waters, right underneath. They are double bubbling right now. It comes down to 2v3, I believe. And 3P can happen from Team Liquid. They don't even have to drop down into the pit. They can just shoot from above. But Rock Esports opts for the Valkyrie to see if they can find a safe haven anywhere on the map.
This was a really good play, especially if Liquid were third partying. You could go around, take their spot. Doesn't quite work out, but neither does that. Elite Esports get deep fried by Gibby ult. DKK get to turn around and actually use their bullets on somebody else, namely Team Liquid, who again have such a great position up in the north. DKK do not get to play this position unpunished and instead have to use the Gibby ult as Rock, as a duo, come out on top of them, drop Cook Sorcerer alive. And in come Ninjas in Pyjamas as well. DKK holding hands perfectly, swinging the right angles, are playing defense for their lives.
The discipline from DKK right now to checking corners together, swinging side by side, making sure that, hey, if somebody's shooting at one of us, we are trading with the 2 other people swinging. As they're looking to engage on NIP in the pit right now, that did get the reset, but are in a uncomfortable spot right now as DKK is raining down bullets on them.
So disciplined out of DKK. I mean, check it out. They drop the Gibby bubble. They swing together, and then they're going to go back as the Gibby bubble expires. They're not getting gritty with their cooldowns, not saving it and hoping nobody else notices. They are using the right cooldowns at the right time. Ninjas in Pyjamas, their discipline really felt here as well, as they managed to outlast that push, surviving on the low ground for now. And DKK can't make that play again.
It's gonna come down to which side gets to play. If DKK can push Team Liquid off of that pit into the next one, they're actually looking to potentially close out this game. But look at the medium rare right now in the middle of the zone, getting absolutely pinched between everybody, as Crazy Thieves, down to the duo that we saw from before, are still stabilizing someone.
Liquid are eyeing this up. There's a big push onto Medium Rare and Thuggets, but Medium Rare will be the team to fall. Liquid could inherit their position, but have to be aware of DKK on their side. Sykes covers the team, waiting with the cooldowns. He's going to use the Newcastle ult to give them staying power. DKK should know this really can't be dealt with, and they now have to go down into the bunkers where Ninjas and Pyjamas have repositioned on the outside. Gibby Bubble used, but immediately Trident broken as the Crazy Thieves go out. JDG still here. Ninjas and Pyjamas, they've got a head peek to play.
Everybody's playing for their cover right now. I would say Team Liquid has a little bit more natural cover, and even another Newcastle ult in front of them. Getting absolutely bombarded by the Gibby ult, though, is not going to help them. They might have a Newcastle Q, is not enough. Sight goes down to 1 HP, and now they get swung by JDG that was playing right underneath them in the water.
And no, these teams could not coexist. It was the right play by JDG. Now they have the high ground with DKK looking at them, and all of these bubbles about to expire. DKK again, wait on the Gibby ult, drop it down just when they know it'll clear JDG out, forcing them down onto the low ground. Meanwhile, we've still got Thuggets playing on low ground as well and biding their time. JDG have very little cover left to play, and DKK defended their backs from Ninjas and Pyjamas. They are juggling this whole lobby. They are spinning plates, and graceful DKK are winning it. Moving up, they do lose Keon. Can they keep control even in this chaos? Up come the Thuggets. Noct takes to the skies to take a look. Thuggets are 3-man strong. DKK have got to pull off a miracle, and they jump down to the low ground and are not going to be able to make it happen. The Thuggets are running this lobby, and the Thuggets will take game 4.
Thuggets from the pits right there. We're playing there. They were the team that actually wiped out in the middle of the zone as well. When you're having that spot where you have to look, they had to look to the west, to the south from NIP, from above. DKK was occupied from the northern side. It actually played out so well. They managed to climb up several times and even land on several KP as well. I'm very interested to see how many points they got that game, because they were just literally in the middle of the war the entire time.
Yeah, and they played very patiently. It's tough to hear all that fighting going on around you, and realistically, not peek it that much. Thuggets had to play very quiet, and they ended up finding the win because of it. The placement points doubling their kills, and I'm going to be honest, I think this is the right play. When you find yourself in the position that Thuggets are in, you maximize points in whatever way you can. This ends up being the win for them, and a well-deserved one. DKK obviously getting their flowers as well. Loved the way they played that game, and JDG, I mean, they come in a close third. I feel like this lobby played out perfectly.
Yeah, it gave a lot of good storylines the opportunity to breathe, guys. And so that was a great showcase, especially on Stormpoint. See it all in action. Rain Day back here. Dia Graceful, great cast as we look at the overall standings coming up here in a second of these teams that, to me, are narrowly separating themselves here, but it's still so close. JD Gaming right in front, but you know, you've talked about Ninjas and Pyjamas and their consistency. DKK, Dia, it was a great day in this last match for them. 10 kills, kill leader in the lobby in that game. Things were just going right for them. We thought they were actually going to win that final zone, and Thuggets took it from them, but I love what I'm seeing from Dropped, Noct, and Keon. And of course, Thuggets take the win. They jump up 10 places. Fun fact as well, they are negative damage in their ratio. They have received about 1,500 more damage than they have given out just to be even. So this is a team that really needed that big win, and they have finally gotten it. Dia, sometimes that's just the way things are going, though, and if you can do it once, you can do it again, and that gives Thuggets a nice track with 2 more games to play here on Stormpoint.
Yeah, it's funny. My first thought was they can't keep getting away with this. We can't keep having teams that win with negative damage. But I think in this case, it makes a lot more sense than we saw with Elite earlier because of that zone play style that we talked about earlier. Thuggets really did have to play small. They couldn't take a lot of risks. And unfortunately, it means you take poke and you just deal with it.
And I think that's a good strategy. Sometimes you can't, take those big spots and risk it all. And speaking of a team that did show up on one side of risk versus the others, it's Freethinkers who have found themselves, negatives, Orange, Gary, in the mix with kills. I mean, look at the kills that they're getting here in these games. 9 kills, 6 kills, 3 kills, 9 kills. But their placements are so low. Graceful, I mean, clearly only getting one half of the equation, but they're having an impact.
they're having an impact, and even like you saw JDG bring out the teabag as well because they're so upset with the way they're getting pushed. However, 23 kills is nothing to scoff at. 2 placement points, it's definitely something to scoff at. If you are not consistently putting in 9 kills on average per game, I would say 6 probably would make you happy. That means you're in the top 10 area. Is that where you're gonna be happy, or do you want to kind of swift from we've killed 3 teams or 2 teams right now, we have enough loot to make it to end game, potentially close out the game, and maybe make a little bit of a mental shift at that point?
Hold on, I do just want to say, you know, we can look at this all we want and go, yeah, well, you could be up higher if you had just played for placement. But I tell you who's in bottom 10 right now. Stallions are in bottom 10. S2 are in bottom 10. Crazy Thieves, Shopify Rebellion are in bottom 10. These are teams that should not be in bottom 10 at any point in the Pro League, given their experience, their LAN caliber. Freethinkers, a team who is basically inching the lobby, are still placing top 10 because they are that mechanically skilled. Whether I think it's like top tier ALGS play, whether I think it's going to win them the world championship or not, I can't argue with results. And right now, it's up to the rest of the lobby to make that up.
And it's up to the rest of the world, really, to see if they can put their money where their mouth is when it comes to inting a lobby full of the best players in Apex Legends. Freethinkers are doing it, but that's only because they qualified through the Challenger circuit. So if you think you can do what they're doing, check out our options to register here on your screen. For the first run of CC1, you can go through the April 11th to 13th, and all the way down until June. There are 3-day windows that you can apply, register, and be a part of the Challenger circuit to potentially make it into the ALGS. Go to battlefy.com/ALGS for your region and sign up today. We love seeing it. And again, maybe just to create that juxtaposition of what they're doing and why it is working in half of a way, like top of the kills. We like that, right? That's exciting play. But we saw that with Twerkaholics. We saw that at LAN, albeit they only had 2 players for most of it. So it wasn't a great look, but we see what Floating is doing now with JD Gaming, and it's taking that ability to do that, but putting it into a way where you're winning games. And that's put JD Gaming in a position to be first place overall. So I think they're going to have to find that balance, Dia. It is exciting. Graceful, you guys have 2 more games before we call ourselves a winner. Eighth place for Freethinkers. They turn around. They could do it.
Hey, you know what? I'm pulling for them. Freethinkers, they are my lads right now. And I tell you what, Grace, like, this to me is a gauntlet thrown at the Pro League. I know that it's, you know, the first week. Pro League, the teams in it are only going to improve as it goes on. But if I may be so frank, the way that Freethinkers are playing right now is disrespectful. This is a playstyle that works in Challenger Circuit, and all around the world, people will tell you, yeah, that's going to work in Challenger Circuit because that's where mechanics matter. In Pro League, it's a different game, and Freethinkers are defying that. By doing that, they are forcing all of the Pro League players who think that they've got it figured out on a much higher level to prove to Freethinkers and to the world that they do still, in fact, have the mechanics to challenge young upcoming talent. Because if not, teams like Freethinkers and all the teams in Challenger Circuit like them are going to rise up, and they're going to take those Pro League spots.
I mean, I think there's no other way to describe it than that maybe this is the new blood that's needed into the scene. We've talked a lot about the veterans, but what about the new up-and-comings? They're showing up in terms of mechanical power, which is really good. But I really like what Rain said about JDG right there. We saw Floating has done it before on land all the way throughout up until the grand finals, essentially. And now on a team that's, I would say, more stable in that case, can bring out the same thing as kind of an extra thing, but that's not the main thing. I think that's a really nice balance that we have seen, which puts them at the top of the leaderboard, mind you, as well. But no, you got to start somewhere, and the way the Freethinkers is playing right now is really solid in terms of gameplay. But you know what's even more scary, Dia? GB got banned. GB saved a lot of teams from Freethinkers sending them. Will they still be safe now? We will have to see.
Who's gonna keep you safe? I mean, like you talk about, though, the ecosystem of Apex definitely has this factored into it. While in this split, we might be going, wow, Freethinkers. I think we're going to be saying the same thing about as we were about Orchid, soon about Freethinkers. That is what seasoned IGL is going to pick them up next. What upcoming team that already has a pretty clean game plan is going to split this squad apart? Because that's so often how new talent gets filtered in through Apex Legends. You qualify up to Pro League, you make it to the open finals, what have you. You prove that you have mechanical skill, and there are IGLs all around the world that will go, that's the player that I need. And that's where you really get well-rounded players developed, because they have mechanical skill and they go with an IGL who knows how to academically win a game of Apex Legends. And that academic skill is going to have to be applied here, as we've got a bit of an unusual zone encapsulating just the south side of Command Center and a whole lot of lagoon up towards the north, this whole bunny slope available as Shopify Rebellion pretty close, and with a ring read as well, may have a advantage they can manifest in this game.
Now you have teams that are opting for different things. Are you going to opt for the Southwest pull, or are you going to opt for the Shopify Rebellion side, which has been rare but does exist, but I would say more rare in these cases. A lot of the times we see this zone pull Southwest, but also a little bit more around the Stormcatcher side of things. However, Crazy Thieves goes for the Southwest pull. Oblivion already in the zone. We've seen them quite a bit towards the center side of things, which is really nice. When you get that zone and you're close to making it into endgame almost immediately, always a great feeling for these teams that are rotating, you know, really fast towards the end game.
It's funny, you called out Crazy Thieves positioning. I want to talk about this a little bit. They have the experienced zone read. This is likely where the ring is going, but they choose to play outside of the buildings instead of inside of them. Talk to me about the pros and cons of this.
I mean, this is one of the things, never mind the fact that they're playing Newcastle, allowing you to play more space on the outside than normal, with Caustic denying space and Newcastle having more cover. However, playing outside the buildings is actually one of those things that, remember what I always say, never try to lock yourself into one thing to where if it hard pulls, you're dead, essentially. They're playing a little bit more on the cusp of things, because now they're able to rotate to whichever side it ends up going, whereas Oblivion right now fighting Stallions once again on the receiving end, where they try to push Oblivion in their previous game that Oblivion ended up winning. Oblivion not slowing down at all as Stallions gets eliminated.
And that was a deconstruction of a rotate. Stallions walk a step too far, and Oblivion serve them the Red Bull first strike with style and speed. There's no way when you're caught out on a rotation like that, when you're not aware of the teams rotating around you, that you're going to be able to live. And Oblivion get to bunker down in this low ground spot. Not great on paper, but when you look at the amount of cover other squads can provide them, Oblivion's spot looks a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is opting for the Southwest pull at this moment right now. We see Buckle Boys play a little bit more conservative, where they're playing all the way Southwest and saying, regardless of where it goes, we have an option to go somewhere. However, Team Liquid, normally a team we end up seeing closer towards the end game side, are probably going to go mid-speed. That Zero is very famously known to do. He likes to get that extra information and then work his way in like the mastermind he is, and which has won him lands as well.
If you guys are Buckle Boys enjoyers, and we spotted them over at Lagoon, it's worth checking in on where Freethinkers are at. They're over at Cito right now, actually creeping up right behind Team Liquid. So Freethinkers, as ever, the squad to watch. JDG actually could find them on their own rotate coming up from the south, but I'd expect JDG to play a lot slower of a game, given the fact that they've moved all the way over to Cenote.
I mean, I think they're very happy with the current lead that they do have, so they're going to play consistently the way they have been doing. Team Liquid, however, as we saw, Freethinkers is looking to engage on them. Engage is a very kind word for what they're about to do. Are they going to actually be straight on their forehead, as they are doing right now?
I think that works. I think that counts as the dictionary definition of engage. But I will say, Team Liquid definitely know how to repel that kind of push. And Sykes puts it in the ground, taking out Orange and Panic on negative. Team Liquid have got firepower to answer even the best. And down will go two of the members of Freethinkers, leaving just the one. Gamblers, however, smell blood and jump right on top of this. Hayden gonna take the off angle. Can he take out Team Liquid? Moving up the stairs. Panic is low. Sykes is low. We need that one last bullet to connect on either of them, but it's just Zero that's down. The rest of Team Liquid may very well get out.
I know Zero is screaming on top of his lungs right now. Why are these guys inting us? They managed to take two down, but don't get to fully reset as Gamblers come in swooping, hoping to get anything remaining. And they do end up getting a KP and loot on top of that.
Freethinkers, hilarious. I mean, right now, it's tough. Zero's right. They shouldn't be doing this, but they are. And Freethinkers have got the opportunity to reset. They've got a crafter over at checkpoint. Should they choose to take it, they might just try and 1v3. Who knows?
Who knows at this point, but one team that is looking to potentially make a play here, they are sniffing out a team, is Elite Esports. We saw them win a game right there as well with that Maggie ball specifically from Dark. Looking to beat Madness in the stairs. Doesn't get it down fully though. Kaden doing really good on that Watson, getting those angles, but it is risky peeking out like that when everybody has opted for the same zone ending. Zone is about to close fully, so we shall see where the zones end up pulling. Is majority of the lobby right, or are they wrong? They are right indeed. It is pulling pretty much on top of them, southwest side of the zone where teams have opted for.
We'll take a look at the map view pretty soon, but this is telling me a lot. Gary is right next to JDG, and they're gonna scan him with the Valkyrie. Gary targeted and eliminated. JDG have got a grudge.
Oh, there he comes.
And they bring it to fruition. I want to take this stance right now. EA does not officially endorse teabagging in any sense. Respect is at the peak of our game, but also this.
I will say respect is at the peak of our game. However, some scenarios, it is valid. That's one of them. If you're getting run at by the same team over and over again, when you get them out of the game, it's more than fair. However, let's keep the game going. JD Gaming feeling happy with that as they get a little bit of extra KP to cement themselves at the top where they're currently standing. It's not over yet though. It's very tight on the leaderboard, mind you, but that will help them go a little bit further.
I do wonder what the next engagement will be. Now that Freethinkers are gone, I'm like, well, who's really picking a fight? They're the team that has really kept the mid-game action going, and now we might actually get something that looks like a normal game, Grace.
A normal game. I mean, one thing I saw last game was Medium Rare was in a really tough spot, and those are one of the moments where you're like, okay, I'm in the spot to where I can potentially win the game if I can survive the mayhem that's about to unfold. But they couldn't. Medium Rare got immediately pushed by Thuggets. They got immediately pushed and wiped. And when you're in those spots, it's so hard to hold it down. Now, JDG is about to run into Medium Rare potentially. I want to hear what they're thinking after that fight. Maybe they're even having some fun conversations. So let's have a listen in with JD Gaming.
What are they doing? Okay. Go to console, go to console. Go to console now. Should be drive to console. We're just gonna play from this end, I think, and just play these rocks.
You walk in, floating, you walk in.
Everything is taken. Everything, guys. Everything. Like everything. At the console.
Another UAV would be helpful.
I'm on you. Oh! Just play it. Can we play like here? Floating. Let's go feel this out. See if it's possible. Should be anchor. Barrel up our back.
That's playable for sure. Like 100%. I'm not gonna look at it.
We just can't let a team play here, floating. We can play there. We just can't let a team get here and pinch us. Okay? Definitely playable. Okay. Let's hold her back out. Floating. You can vibe out. Do whatever you want.
We have the Valkyrie at the end. The ultimate.
Yes,
like we got kills and Valkyrie. Like there's no walk in, by the way.
Hold her back. Hold her back. Barrel up. Get out of the car.
Is this compy?
Are you driving and barreling? Oh,
is it compy, bro? It's like it's like ultimate like armor for my anchor, bro. Like are you kidding?
You can put a barrel in your car too.
I'm gonna go check pylon, alright? Hold on.
Graceful, I'm getting the feeling that everything is taken. An astute observation from JDG, and honestly, they made the right play to play slow out of this side, watch their backs, and you really liked the way that Naughty was approaching this.
The way, like, nothing except smile on my face right now. Hearing Naughty communicate so well and sticking to the plan of what are we doing next. He's saying, drive immediately to the ring console. No, assume that everything is taken. He's so assertive, knows what he wants to do. It's such a big evolution from the Naughty. You know, the way I got to know him properly. You know, I played when we repped C9 on that Stockholm land. And that personification of him, that evolution is a beautiful thing to see. He's now grown to be that confident person, and what was his greatest enemy back in the day was himself. Now I see a new character and new heights of him. They're currently leading this leaderboard for the moment. If they can keep up this form that they have had throughout the day, we could even see them at the top of the leaderboard for the rest of the series if we're lucky.
And they've got more information than anyone else. That really important for JDG is, like you said, they've already got the top position. They've also got the most knowledge in the lobby. The one team that can challenge that, S2, coming out of Stormcatcher. And I'll actually throw in Gamblers here. Both those teams having access to ring console. S2 Stormcatcher, Gamblers, Cascade Falls. And then JDG over in Jurassic. The 3 ring consoles. The most information in the lobby belongs to these squads.
Did I say that out loud?
I mean, when we saw it before, when you asked why is Crazy Thieves playing in this location, it ends up pulling very close to them.
Yeah, let's
they
grab
are
that
so
map.
happy to play on that. Yeah, I mean, they're so happy to play outside the building because this is one of the things. It used to be I'm saying years ago, when the zones ended inside certain buildings, right? That's gone now. So do you really want to full commit to inside a building a lot of the times? No, you want to play in a spot to where you can actually rotate, decide, do we go left, do we go right, to decide where is the zone actually ending or where can we fight for something, and make sure to hold out your backs as well. Otherwise, they get blown off.
Yeah, once we've got a break in the action, we'll take a look at the map to see exactly where all of these teams are playing for and exactly how good Crazy Thieves' spot is, because if you're checking out ALGS Multiview, you already know it, but Crazy Thieves have got such a fantastic role or prediction, however you want to play it. DKK realistically going to have to Valcult and gamble, which is tough because, as we heard from Naughty, everything is taken.
Everything might be taken, but as we're all holding our breath for where DKK will be landing, they do have that essentially wall hack to see where every team is at. Will they opt to land a little bit high and then walk down? It seems that that will be the case. They're landing essentially in the middle of the hill. Saw a team behind them. Are they looking to gatekeep at the Spider's Nest? We'll see. But Crazy Thieves right now sitting in the spot they sat from essentially minute 1 and still feeling very happy about it.
Yeah, continuing to narrow their scope as well. Crazy Thieves used to be playing very spread out. They've definitely identified that there is a threat in the south. JDG are the team that they have to keep at bay, and that's constricting the focus of Crazy Thieves. JDG are like hoping that the aggro drops. They're trying to out-heal in the zone and hope that Crazy Thieves look away, but I don't think it's going to happen. Crazy Thieves are locked in on this, and even if Valcult might not save them, JDG have nowhere to land, and they're going to be landing at 25% HP.
This is very scary indeed. It's JGD landing behind the rocks, but there's a team on the opposite side of them, immediately shooting them, as we saw that fight as well. Crazy Thieves have that angle. They don't really have any place to play, and that's kind of the thing. You're slamming, hoping something is playable, but if it's not, you're getting pinched immediately. We saw DKK from before flying past the choke, landing ahead of the spider caves essentially, and now they're fighting Buckle Boys, known to take out the Freethinkers 2 out of 3 times. But there's 3 teams or 2 teams on the northern side of things that will be sliding down that slope as well. It's gonna be a collapse from the northern side. However, the team that ended up playing full 11 inside the building are actually very happy about this. Zone is pretty nearby them.
S2's position actually really not bad. I especially because they're playing with a Wraith. Portal is available to take them down a little further to the south. The big question is going to be how this DKK Buckle Boys fight pans out, because if it extends, there's the opportunity for Gamblers and S2 to all file in here. Oh, Buckle Boys have to finish this off. They got a knock. Can they actually do it? Jay pushes forward and manages to avoid getting knocked himself. Buckle Boys putting out huge amounts of damage, but not actually finding another knock. Kuzme's got the shield. Mobile from Newcastle, prepared and ready to go. The Buckle Boys draw some aggro from S2, and that's surely going to be the end of them, giving, however, DKK the chance to reset on the low ground. S2 have to balance the 2 squads. They gotta spin these plates, and Cruel Buckle shatters one before Buckle Boys do eventually go down. In from the back come Gamblers. You and I talked about this. We saw it coming graceful. The fight extends a second too long, and nobody wins.
The collapse from the north side just happened right now as Gamblers is the last to join the fray against S2 and DKK. Did DKK get that reset or not? We don't know for sure, as NIP coming in with the zone right now, trapped in front of them. There's no way they make it in. They get eliminated. Rock Esports also not inside the zone just yet, getting held by 2 teams, Medium Rare and Thuggets right now, looking at them as they go down as well.
Yeah, nobody was prepared for that rotate, and how could they be? So few rotational tools drafted on each of our squads with the amount of bans that we've had come in so far. That is crazy that DKK are still alive and actually in a position to fight gamblers now. It's 2v2.
It is a 2v2, and if there's a Moby anywhere, it's bound to be in one of those 10 boxes in that choke. They could potentially get this done. However, the 2v2 comes down to whether or not if they find any openings, or they're just gonna sit this out, because there is 11 teams up. Do you just play for placement points, or do you make sure to try to win the game? DKK right now a little bit on the passive side of things, sitting in that corner. Crazy Thieves, however, in a spot, but they're not in the next zone. There's 4 teams on the southern side, including the side on the western side that will collapse on them at some point. They're gonna have to hold on several teams. Triple blue is a little bit scary.
Crazy Thieves have to keep an eye on a lot of different fights as well. They've focused up towards DKK and Gamblers. Maybe extending for this fight is a possibility. But even then, you notice Shopify Rebellion, full 11, Thuggets, medium rare, all looking at that very same spot. Gamblers actually find a respawn in the midst of all of this.
Team Liquid is lighting up the kill feed as well, as they were one of the teams in the southern side right now. 3 teams are fighting for the same side, about to get held by pretty much the Crazy Thieves. He's gonna look at all of them.
Revival out.
Oh, Revival gets eliminated. Panic still frying though, lighting up that kill feed.
Liquid surely wiped this. It's 1, it's 2. Swinging on that Sykes, nice confident play, ends up picking up another 3 points for Team Liquid as this push, the impossible push, comes in. Crazy Thieves are looking to take out Team Liquid, and it is just Panic left. Can he play small enough? Can he find a reset? Sykes, knocked, is still technically up, and Team Liquid have another chance.
Blink on 1 HP as well, as Oblivion is trying to fight for their lives right now. Comes down to Blinkster solo. As I believe he saw somebody up top, but they got eliminated actually. Team Liquid is out now as well from the southern side. Crazy Thieves still in a spot to close out this game. Shopify Rebellion, dead center zone. Blinkster trying to reset as a solo on the absolute height, but there is a team playing on top of the roof. It's gonna be hard for him.
He may still be able to do this, especially because he is alone. Valk ult would be the downfall of Oblivion, though, as every other team is stacked up on top of this building, Thuggets included. And these rocks are some of the few safe places left to play. The timing, however, critical. You've mentioned this earlier, Graceful. There are times to play safe spots, or rather times when spots become safe. Thuggets have a great one right now, but we are pulling off of this building, and at that point, you need any other form of cover.
The thing is that Crazy Thieves that we've been talking about pretty much the whole game as well is in a phenomenal spot. But right there, they're trying to take out Blinkster. His spot actually becomes incredibly good if the last team on the roof gets to take that somehow. They do have a Valk, they don't, and they have a Newcastle that could potentially slam for height and then end up fighting. But Crazy Thieves won't let this go at all, because you saw right there, there's a ledge on the side of the wall where Crazy Thieves is, and then on the other side of things, Shopify Rebellion. They both can actually coexist right next to each other, and then the other teams are bound to fight each other.
Real quick, while that sentence was going on, Blinkster did get one shot. So that is one source of pressure now gone from Crazy Thieves that actually lets them push up and make this play with confidence. A little Moby here providing them even more cover, but rightly so. Verholst is looking up. The biggest threats to Crazy Thieves are going to come pouring over this fence.
Yeah, I mean, you even saw the ping on that rock that I said as well. Somebody's going to look to occupy that rock to have a safe angle and peek on the rest of the lobby. Once this zone closes a little bit more, medium rare, however, finds Shopify Rebellion behind that wall, tries to throw some util at them, but they have a Newcastle wall. Not going to do too much for the moment. Medium rare, actually, the first team to have to move, I believe, as well as Thuggets and full 11 above them.
You get one Newcastle wall. That's what everyone is thinking right now. Thuggets are going to use theirs, dropping down onto the ground just below them. This is third party. Well, absolutely. Medium rare are going to be listening to all of this. Accidental finisher gets channeled at full 11. Go down for it. Thuggets left alive at 1 HP. Still have the chance to reset, but surely someone is looking to push up on this. Surely someone realizes their game is doomed. And up come medium rare to take out the Thuggets. To the skies are going to go Shopify Rebellion, scouting out everyone. And Crazy Thieves recognize the numbers advantage. Over the wall they come. Verls commits for the kill, and Crazy Thieves may have bitten off a little more than they can chew. It's medium rare from the high ground, raining down hellfire and looking to take this game as Koifel gets fried. Medium Rare take the win.
Medium Rare takes the win and climbs up that leaderboard to, I believe, maybe even first place currently on the leaderboard. However, we saw that play. They were actually one of the teams that had to move earlier. The two teams above them ended up fighting. Gets the climb 3P. Now they have the high ground and close out that game. Sometimes you just have to play slow and disciplined, and an opportunity will open up because other teams are forced to fight before you. Very happy for Medium Rare.
Yeah, that was, I have to do this. It's in my head, and it's not going to go until I get it out. Medium Rare, well done. I liked the way that they managed to take that fight at the right timing. They played patient down on the low ground, and they saved the Newcastle like we were talking about. Everybody in that final ring got one. Meanwhile, Shopify Rebellion get aggressive on Crazy Thieves, and that earns them a full second place just by committing a caustic ult in the right area. Crazy Thieves had nothing to do but go over the wall and try and contest Shopify Rebellion, who was set up with defense.
Yeah, I mean, we also saw full 11, and I believe Thuggets were fighting or slamming for the same spot as well. I would like to say that Crazy Thieves played in that spot for the entirety of that game. Only 4 KP, a little bit on the low side, but you're definitely happy with reading the zone properly, which they did very early on, and get that placement points to move you up that leaderboard a little bit. They moved up 4 slots into 12th. They're definitely a little bit shaky going into the last game of the day, but I think the other teams right now, do you see how tight it is at the top? 45, 42, 41, 41, 40. Anything can shake up. Like, the last game is going to be the most hype game ever because the leaderboard can completely scramble.
Yeah, going into Game 6 in EMEA, we all knew that Aurora was far and away the leader. This time, anyone can take the lead, especially as we look further down the leaderboard. Even Rock are within touching distance of giving us a few extra highlights on the day and taking that first place. Speaking of highlights, we would love to see yours. We love seeing all of your amazing clips on the broadcast. We've already run a few of them as we get started in the season, and we want to showcase even more. You have the opportunity to showcase your favorite funny, amazing, incredible, whatever the adjective that you want to use to describe it is, plays on broadcast. Head over to Apex socials anywhere at Play Apex Esports and submit your clips so that we can check them out on broadcast and cheer you on appropriately. Grace, we've got a lot to look forward to as we have one game left on the Storm Point. It is our last of the day and of the weekend, but with, as you said, the leaderboard's so close, one thing is sure. This game is going to be one to remember as we send our marks off with the first weekend of ALGS complete. We will be right back after a short break to bring you the most action-packed games of ALGS to date.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tank, and this is the ALGS Top 5 Plays of the Week. Let's get right into them. Kicking off the top plays at number 5, we've got ProGents with the charge rifle from downtown Charlie Brown. One tap, two tap, got the knock and the finish. What a shot. At number 4, Shuri Twitch in a bit of a pickle. Squad in the late game, hemmed in, but he's got a Kraber. Here's some footsteps right above him. Oh, one shot, no scope. At number 3, you're about to get a lesson in caustic play from Rhino Live. Late game circle, whole team's up, and they're looking for a dub. And Rhino, he's got the high ground, Anakin, and he's also got a caustic call. Knocks gas grenade out, and huge damage pours out of it. Oh my goodness. It's a triple kill. No, make it a quadra kill. Insane damage poured out of Rhino. Now he's just shooting fish in a barrel. Unbelievable stuff, but wait. Rhino's not done yet. Arc Star off the face. Give him another kill. Moves into the kill lead. And now easy peasy lemon squeezing. This little poor soul has no chance. Lock it in. Dub City. Rhino, clutch it up. At number 2, not to be outdone with the sniper rifle, we head over to Ketis. He's got a sentinel and a beam. Oh, one shot knock. Looking for more? Yes! Knocked. 2 shots, 2 knocks. Cruising on in. Does he have another one in him? Oh, no! Team wipe! And your ALGS #1 play of the week. Coming in from GMA, Swappy Flap, going to give you a lesson in Valkyrie play. Picks up an early knock, super low on the health bar though, going to peel back, try to pop off his shield battery. Footsteps in behind him. Oh, baby, oh, he's getting tagged up, little spinorama. Picks up another knock, and now the Valkyrie with the movement capability is out. But wait, heading back in, wants some more blood? Yes, Team White picks it up. And a little cherry on top, pick up the res. That was your top 5 plays of the week. Make sure you head over to Apex Legends website under the community tab and upload your clip so you get a chance to make the top 5. If you'd like to see more of my content, head over to Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at The Tank TV. We'll see you next week with another top 5.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone, to the ALGS, where we are getting into our final game of the day and of the weekend and of North America. It is the final, and graceful. It is also the final chance for these teams to figure out who is moving on to first place, with the leaderboard ever so tight. Newcastle is banned coming into this game, and with Gibraltar joining him, safety is at a premium.
I mean, who is gonna take it home today indeed? And with Newcastle gone, people can no longer play as long as they did the previous games with that survivability added by those characters. JB gone, Newcastle gone. Now it comes down to actual gunplay. Nothing can save you now. Will Freethinkers finally get a game where they make it into the end game with 35 kills? We shall see.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm pulling for Freethinkers here. The shutdown on them this past game really did hurt the consistency that they've given us in kills, and is the perfect showcase of what you were talking about, Graceful. Why placement points matter so much? Because you have a lot more control over them. The zone, weird as it might seem, is a lot more predictable than your ability against other players in the lobby, and JDG have managed to, despite having a little bit of a difficult time with it in Game 4, shut down Freethinkers 2 games in a row.
I mean, this is the thing though. Now we talked about team comps as well. I'm seeing a lot of people are gonna be opting into mainly Seer Bangalore, looking to play aggressive in a different way that they couldn't do before, whereas other teams might be opting to play a little bit more, you know, we see a little bit of Stinky and Rampy, and those 2 characters enable you to play a little bit more defensively, although not to the same capabilities of the likes of Newcastle and Gibby, but a lot of teams tend to opt for what's a comfort pick in a sense, to where we keep the same playstyle regardless of the team comp. So that's why you see a very common swap of we're swapping one controller for another, we're swapping one support for another, just to keep that same playstyle.
Hold it, Freethinkers. They did load into this lobby as a duo, and JDG, knowing that, have gone for the kills really early on. They do pick up the kill onto negative, but Orange manages to stay alive for a moment, landing right outside of Cito. Oblivion, I don't think I've actually noticed this just yet. I won't say this game is easy for Freethinkers. It's extremely difficult, but they might manage to live a little longer than 20th.
This is rough indeed. I was really vouching for them since we saw the potential of having huge games, but they couldn't really close down on it. Now as a duo, it's going to be even harder. However, you know, 25 points if they end up throwing a donut this game is still capability of having better days later down the line of the Pro League weeks. So can still go home with a held high and saying, hey, let's VOD review and see what we could do better. However, on the flip side of things, Zone no longer going north pad side, maybe a little bit outside of checkpoint side instead, is going to be a really fun zone to both play and also look at.
Yeah, fun for us. For them, this is going to be challenging. Checkpoint zones are difficult to, as you've said earlier, get into and out of for a lot of teams. And the choke points coming into here are absolutely brutal, especially where medium rare are towards the south side. It is incredibly difficult to make your way in here with so many teams able to look at the southern choke.
I played quite a bit of ranked, and I saw a few zones end right where Oblivion essentially is playing, around that hillside of things on the southwest side of the hill.
On the respawn?
Yeah, exactly, around that side. I think mine ended literally in that waterfall, essentially. Medium rare in a prime spot, once again, from winning the previous games with plenty of kills. Was it 13 kill wins? They have a good spot again to make things happen. So if they can keep that form, which they actually overtook, mind you, they're currently sitting in first place. This is a zone that they're more than happy to be at. They're like, hey, if we play this properly, we can lock down this weekend.
What they're going to need is a whole lot of damage to come with this. Spiders are going to help a little bit in the Evo department, but even sitting on blue shield's not going to be super comfortable when the teams that rush you are coming from the edge play style. DKK, with still a relatively early rotate, get to hit the scan and move into zone with a Trident. But remember, not having Gibby makes this rotate a lot riskier, and the Trident takes a bit too much damage for DKK to finish the ride.
Yeah, not feeling too confident of finishing that ride. Make sure that, hey, we're not going to have any accidents. Make one of us go down and then we get collapsed on. Still in a spot, though, to where they're feeling kind of happy. They're in dead center zone, essentially. Now opting to see if they can get somewhere more stable. However, on flip side of things, far east here, Buckle Boys, Revival, looking to duke it out and see who comes out on top.
Revival in a similar spot to where we saw Stallions go down last game. And I don't mean geographically. They're not near that position, but in a spot where their rotate is absolutely not complete and not safe. Having another team roll up on them here could very well be the end of Revival, and they've got to be playing with that awareness. Madness needed to lead the squad, but it's Mellow who ends up going first to secure these buildings, and Madness coming out now has to stay grouped with the team just so that they have enough firepower to fight off any intruders.
One of the teams we end up talking about a lot because of the big, big history of Zach Macers. Macer moments, great guy, great personality. He's always had the potential of having huge games, and he's also had moments where he throws games. Currently sitting on 7 teams. They need a big game to climb up that leaderboard. But we have seen it done before because the points on the leaderboard is so tight on the upper end of the echelons. They can actually just, with one win alone, they can climb like 10 spots on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I was a big believer coming into the squad. I am a big believer of this squad coming into this split. Why do you think they've had such a rough day?
I mean, I would like to say that the macro of, like, in this group specifically right now, the teams that are fighting, the macro on several teams, especially looking at Olympus' first game, I think we saw 16 teams incredibly early, right? That means same teams are vouching for the same power spots to play or the same positionings, and they end up running into one another on the macro. Is that one of the teams that might have gotten impacted by the macro of other teams? I'm not too sure. Or are they simply losing fights? I'd have to VOD review to double check. But one thing I don't need to VOD review is Team Liquid is not letting go of that. Hemlock is singing, immediately taking him down. Future goes down to 0.
They just know what they're about. That's what you get with experience. Unfortunately, not quite able to break the fences here is Panic, but it doesn't impact the play overall as full 11 whittled down to nothing, as that play was started and finished all by Liquid from a distance. The Red Bull first strike clean in game number 6.
I mean, that Hemlock is absolutely terrifying. You peek a little bit, you immediately go down, and it hits so hard. Even with the small nerf that did happen in a quick patch note, isn't enough to have people not playing it. Everybody's picking up the Hemlock for a good reason. R9, however, also doing work as Naughty takes out the poor duo Freethinkers. Don't do it to them. You know they were doing this game. Don't do it to them. Okay, they got the decency to not do it against the duo.
The respect. Everybody's been in that situation where you're a duo, and
yeah,
it's something you have to applaud teams for being able to play it out. JDG, fortunately having recovered their mentals after the last 2 games, are going to chill in mill and plan out their next move. There is the potential for a ring console here. Naughty's going to hit it right now, giving them advanced information on this next ring. A ring that is pulling pretty darn far to the north of Checkpoint.
Is this actually going past the mountain towards Source Gaming, or is it going to come back down?
I think it's going back.
Of this, Yeah, I mean, regardless of this, though, you know, there's chokes to make it through, whether you go to west side, whether you go to north side, where Team Liquid is at. I think Team Liquid is very happy with this because they have playable areas for sure. They're going to have to fight a little bit if it ends up pulling all the way north. But when we saw that gunplay from Zero right there as well, they're not scared of taking fights by any means. However, speaking of taking fights right now, the Dome, North Gaming versus Gamblers.
Got a couple of other teams that can slide in here as well. Elite and Rock flank either side of this engagement. Elite coming up behind Gamblers right now. Rock coming up behind Source. This could be a 4-team fight. And as Gamblers get chunked, they have to back off right into the arms of Elite, who are sneaking up behind them.
This is the thing. Depending on timing when you fight, other teams are lurking nearby. Gamblers gets downs. However, a little bit hurt. They're not really getting walked up yet, though, by Elite Esports, who is looking at them right now. They did walk up, though. One down came from Dig right there, and that's what we're talking about. They're lurking, finding that opportunity to strike, and they find it, and they get downs on Source Gaming.
Yeah, Gamblers going to be the next ones up, as they were the team that got knocked to kick off this third party.
Wow.
And Elite Esports capitalize in a fantastic way, even finding the last remaining member in the zone. Gamblers will full fall, and it's perfect timing out of Elite. Rogue, perhaps a little bit late. Can Caden actually keep them abreast? Oh my lord, he can. Sorcerer's 1 HP. Dig wants to drop on this, but he misses. Sorcerer doesn't actually see him below, giving the chance for Rock to reset. Elite get pushed back by Rock as Vaxlon strikes. Dig up on high ground, takes out Vax, but now Sorcerer's up with him and forces Dig to drop.
Trades on both sides right now. Caden had a big opening, but out of nowhere, S2 comes in for the fight. We said that they needed a big game and they could have it. They immediately come for the 3P. They get 1 KP right now, looking to make sure that they can clean this fight up, hopefully without losing anybody. Rock Esports, however, seem to retreat back into the Beast, where they initially, previous game, also got a couple of KP.
Rock are out of there. It is a 5-team skirmish that ultimately ends up with S2 feeling all right. Gamblers did pick up a lot of KP. Rock didn't really get much, but Elite, importantly, still alive, got the majority of the kills. And if they're able to find a reset, as it looks like they've got one up in North Pad, is there a crafter here? There is a crafter here.
It is a crafter, and the zone doesn't hurt that much. They should be able to get this full reset, and they're going to be very happy with that. Sure, they lost out on a little bit of loot, but making sure that you're a 3-man up, you can always turn any fight.
Dig still got to heal up. S2, they get all the loot from this, which is just fine. What's up?
Shopify Rebellion is near the reset spot as well. I am not too sure Elite will get this, as Shopify Rebellion is actually looking into the zone right now to see if they can hunt down this reset properly. Everybody's starting to vouch, like, look for KP wherever they can at the moment. 16 teams left alive, Circle 2 closing, about to show Zone 3. People are just making sure that, hey, it's go big or go home.
There's really limited time here for Elite as well. They're gonna have to move into Shopify Rebellion, but S2 are moving up on this as well. Carter's really close. Shopify Rebellion and S2 could start fighting, and that would give the necessary opportunity to Elite to move in. Unfortunately, with Dig getting knocked, time, even more of the essence, and no support perks is going to mean that Dig has to slow heal after this. An even worse position for the squad. I don't even know if they make it in. I think they might just die to zone here.
It's going to be a tough walk-in for sure with the limited amount of heals, as they have Shopify Rebellion and S2 from the other side of the rock. Both teams just looking at the same enemy, making sure to say, hey, we don't care if you get the KP or we get the KP, but Shopify Rebellion more than happy to see if they can catch anything at that point. Zone is about to move, though. Feeling kind of safe, though. Next zone should be pulling even deeper into checkpoint side, but the teams right now on the northern end of things are happy with the way it is.
The fact that they even get to touch zone at all is crazy. With 2 teams looking at them, Elite are still flanked by Shopify and S2, though, and they've got no heals to work with. Just slow ones, moving themselves inches closer to this next zone. S2 and Shopify Rebellion, in a way, keeping each other honest. Neither team can overextend too much, but Elite have got to make their way into the ring either way.
This is the thing, though. Who's going to engage first? Who's going to get to 3P? Are we going to see some KP get stolen by his S2 again? Or are we going to see Shopify Rebellion hold out this 3v3? Nobody wants to full commit at the moment because they know at just a second away is another team lurking to see if they can join.
Elite Esports do manage to throw down the Seer ult, buying them a little bit of space, pushing up, getting aggressive on Shopify Rebellion. They've taken this team out before, but this time it's a little bit too much. Carter from the side ends up, in a way, helping out Shopify Rebellion, as eventually Elite Esports will fall and Shopify and S2 go their separate ways. Koi rejoining with the squad, and Elite Esports down, finally, despite their best efforts. Buckle Boys trying to move in here as well. We did mention this checkpoint zone earlier. Medium Rare held the south side, but Buckle Boys have absolutely closed the distance.
That's the thing, though. You're fighting indoors, and when you're fighting indoors, the last person you want to see is Sir Stinks a lot. He's right there with the gas barrels, gassing everything up, making sure nobody has playable area. However, on flip side of things, in the Western choke, we saw JDG fighting once again Rock, that they ended up fighting the previous as well, are fighting for the same entry point, and it's getting really tough for Shubi right now. He gets one mag immediately as he drops down from height. Rock Esports, though, looking really good right now, ensuring that they are the last team through that choke.
And Buckle Boys look good as well, taking out Medium Rare, moving themselves up the leaderboards. Currently, of all the squads left, NIP are the closest to first place, only 4 points off, and NIP have got a fantastic spot in zone. You can see them off in the distance there. Cole being the big one to notice. Oblivion contesting for a first place spot as well, just 1 point behind NIP, have also got a building in ring.
I'm telling you right now, the 5 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams are essentially contesting for first place right now. Even Crazy Thieves could make it happen if should they land a bunch of KP. It's almost anybody's game at this point to end up in the top 3 scenarios. Everybody's really clawing their way for that day trophy, essentially.
We got to keep our eyes on Liquid as well. I mean, Liquid's spot is only getting better with time. They're going to have high ground in the entire lobby as this next zone closes, and could very well close this out, especially after a disappointing champs run. Finding a win for the last game of the weekend would be the perfect way to open up Split 1.
Definitely a great start on the year if they end up getting that. However, Stallions on the other side of things had a great day yesterday. Now a little bit of a slow start. However, getting a couple of KP potentially should be good for them, but they're opting to play for, are they going low ground or are they going for the platform? I could not see. They're underneath right now. Yep, they're going for low ground, making sure to say, hey, we have a spot here. But are they able to fight the team without getting thirded from either side? This is going to be rough.
It's going to have to be a slow game for Stallions, playing just in these small bits of cover. They can't afford to play very big. Crazy Thieves really can't afford it either, especially with the nades coming their way. They have to take the portal all the way back and reset in this building. Stunny doesn't even make it. Phony, waiting on this reset, is going to go forward, rejoining Stunny, trying to buy him a little bit more space as the Buckle Boys will fall. Rock starting to make their way in from the western side of zone. Low, but with enough cover to make this work.
That hill is actually in their favor as this zone is a little bit ahead of them. They should be able to, if they can clean up a side, this is the most important part. You need to clean a side so your back is safe and then you can walk in. And they are actually able to play this end game. However, on the northern side of things right now, on both layers, top and low, everybody is fighting. Crazy Thieves might have lost one, but they're shooting out. Is that, Stallions, Thuggets, DINOS? I can't tell. They're all shooting at each other.
Liquid definitely focused on Stallions right now, and it appears that Crazy Thieves are focused on Thuggets and DINOS. As you say, Thuggets up on high ground, DINOS just below them. The Crazy Thieves actually putting up a big fight, especially given that they had lost a member earlier with Stunny down. We'll see how well they're able to adapt, though, as looking at this zone, Oblivion have the best end of the deal. The only building left in the next zone. Ninjas and Pyjamas are 2 points off of first right now, but Oblivion are only 4.
This is the thing, though. Oblivion is in a great spot, but can they hold out the other teams from playing potentially underneath them? We see Revival is in a tough spot. DINOS in Pyjamas is in between. They need to make a play to where they get a playable area, but you don't want to be on the northern side where 5 teams are going to collapse on you. You want to make sure you get something. However, Oblivion, can they hold it out? Ninjas in Pyjamas right now, making a TP underneath them, I believe. Mayday TP. That should be getting held by them, though, by Oblivion. And if not, then yeah, we'll see.
With Dinos out, Stunny down as well. Crazy Thieves, they are the ones with a lot of focus on them. Team Liquid playing off this high ground are going to absorb some of that as well, as the Crazy Thieves are forced to move in and look right at Team Liquid above them. They've got a little bit of cover, especially with this care package to use. This frag could be huge onto Team Liquid. Will it connect? It does! It's a huge frag from Phony as he swings behind Team Liquid. So much damage has already been done, but Verhulst can't actually follow up on it, and Crazy Thieves make neither play work. Phony ultimately retreating down to the low ground and getting nothing done. What a tragic way for that play to go.
4 teams collapsed on the northern side, and Team Liquid still alive right now. Rock Esports right in front of them. Ninjas in Pyjamas from the side. Everybody looking to clean up whichever KP is left in the lobby to push themselves up that leaderboard. Revival goes down. It's down to Team Liquid versus NIP, I believe. NIP looking really strong currently.
Oblivion still contesting for this as well, but Liquid going down will no longer be in contention for first place. Thuggets are sitting in second, but with almost no chance of making it up to the 53 points that Ninjas in Pyjamas hold. Oblivion have got to get every kill in the lobby to make this work, and they're starting it off right, taking out the last remaining member of Thuggets. They have to wipe NIP. They have to get every single kill on NIP and take the game for Oblivion to turn this around from 7th to 1st.
Can they do this? Can they jump all the way? Comes down to whoever wins this fight will move themselves up that leaderboard. NIP looking in a good spot for the moment, but that ledge got taken by Oblivion.
Defending world champions up against the squad that looked best to start the day. Ninjas in Pyjamas looked so good on Olympus, and it just got away from them at the very end. Can they keep control of this game when there's only one squad left in the lobby? Kurev absolutely thinks he can as he slides out with the Seer scan, looking for contact on Oblivion. Out go the Skynades. If these connect, it is devastating! Monsoon and Blink eviscerated, and Ninjas in Pyjamas off of godly Skynades take the last game of the day.
The Skynades absolutely eviscerates Oblivion. 2 frags did probably 400 damage right there. That was absolutely phenomenal. And we saw NIP as well fight for that crazy side on the northern end where we saw 5 teams collapse on each other, come out on top, and then clean up that last 3v3. What a great day to start the day and also end the day for them. This whole series have been nothing but a super solid, consistent play day for NIP.
That's my boy Kurev opening that up. We saw him with the Kraber in game 1. And with this game, manages to close it out with the Skynades. The openings that he's able to create for this team. There are too many good things to say about this guy. Too many good things to say about NIP. And we bring it back to what we talked about at the start of the day as well. The support, the coaching, the fact that Raven is working with this squad and they've seen improvements split over split. What a way to finish off our first weekend with NIP taking that win, moving themselves up to first place, not just in this game, but on the match day. Rain day. That was an incredible finish to a fantastic weekend.
That was about as good a finish, as explosive of a finish as possible, gentlemen. Great call. But more importantly, the Skynades landing. He hit a caustic barrel with his Arc Star the very first throw. And I said, you know, he's really just hoping that somebody rounds that corner. But then he had a bigger plan. He had the vision. They were already in his domain to put it as those of us who are watching Jujutsu Kaisen would be putting it. It was an easy lockdown once they stepped into his arena. And Kurev, he's been dominant, but I think we'll step aside from his 14 kills that lead the lobby and his 8,000 damage that lead the players. I think we'll go to the bigger point, which you had mentioned, which is the way this team is operating. We talked about support as a major theme. Raven coming in as this coach. He's a guy who's had vision. He's a multiple champion. He understands what it takes to put a team in a position to win. And they're staying consistent and they're staying together. And I think, you know, that's such a big element of why they've been successful today. And you can see it in their play here, Dia.
You really can. I mean, I talked about Kurev and how awesome he is, but Ninjas in Pyjamas have got an incredible amount of follow through with that as well. They've been playing really well together, and Cole stands out to me as another player to really highlight. If Kurev is the frag, Cole is absolutely the refrag, and he is more than willing to commit, even if he's on his own, to the fights that Kurev is opening up from a distance. That's something that NIP have as a play style that almost no other team is able to pull off, where their fragger actually likes to play from a little further away.
You know, my thought around this is that obviously we got some top performers, but we have to look at this as a series. And, you know, yesterday we got to see Group A play, and Group C got their showcase today. But what was interesting is following along the story of Group A coming into today, you might have expected full 11 near the top 5 because they won yesterday. Well, they're actually in the bottom, not just the bottom, the 20th position. Soviet. A wide future, Legatron. I mean, what do you think, Graceful, happened today that just created such a distinct difference for first 11?
I mean, sometimes it's just one of those games. Like I said as well, we were talking about S2. What went wrong? I'd have to actually bother you to make sure to find out. But it could have been same macro as other teams. It could have been losing gunfights. It could have been, you know, zones not favorable for their playstyle or POIs at the moment. I'd have to invest for sure, but one thing I will say is that you can't really go all the way into fully, like 20th and first is a vast difference. A lot of the times you see other teams, we saw the likes of Team Liquid still end up in the upper bracket of that leaderboard because they have that something to fall back on. They are that veterans, they are that, you know, they have that experience. But does this team have something to fall back on when things go wrong?
Right.
It's hard to say, but for 2 days, we'll have to see for the third day.
You know, it's great.
I've got something.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
On this whole variance thing, like you're talking about, Graceful, this squad does need something to fall back on. I think the biggest thing that is the difference, however, is the Olympus Storm Point rotation. Olympus really punishing for a squad that in their preseason talked about how they really wanted to focus on zone play. You add to that the fact that these lobbies are a lot more chaotic rain day, and I can see why the big variance happened. We're in a much more chaotic lobby with a map that is inherently harder to play zone on for the full first half of it. And you're going to have a rough time, especially given that this is an open team, and they don't necessarily have much to fall back on outside of the one thing that made them successful there, which was their zone play.
I think they also have a problem with replicating what made them successful in day one. Guys, they have 4 kills today. They had 36 kills yesterday. Zone play or not, they were getting most of their points from being able to run up on teams and have a fight go in their favor. And that didn't happen at all today, and it's no wonder that they didn't get points. In fact, I'll tell you something that's even maybe more surprising. They had a 4th place and a 5th place today. You would expect all 20s, all bottom 10s, you know, 15s, 16s. They got in the top 5 twice, and they still ranked 20th. That is a strange situation, which lets me know that something went wrong, and you probably hit the nail on the head, Dia, with Olympus. The way they like to approach fights, the way they were just probably rolling with them yesterday, it just didn't click today, and they never found that rhythm yet again. But, of course, that leads us to talking about the players across the board that did well today in our Sony in-zone kill leaderboard, which, yes, won't be featuring anybody from full 11. They had their days yesterday, but today you saw it. You saw it at the end. You saw it at the beginning. Kurev with 14 kills takes the lead. Cersei right behind him. And Sykes from Team Liquid having a good day, floating and knocked, rounding out the top 5. JD Gaming, 5th place specifically. DKK dropped into 7th place despite a really strong performance. And there you go, NIP's Cole hitting 6th and tying for all the rest of the players in there all the way down into 10th. Graceful. Some really good performances from these guys, and I think across the board you could see when Kurev is on fire, this NIP team, it's just so hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them play for great positioning, so the IGLing is really on point for that team, as well as the overall fighting. They're taking so much space, they're playing together so well. Even though they're fully committing here to get this team wipe, they're doing it together. And that's one of the things that some teams are missing, to where they're not triple swinging stuff, but we can see time and time again, the synergy between this roster is really working out in their favor.
Yeah, you can see right there as well. The synergy, the trust, the confidence, that all made a difference. And those nades getting aggressive, saying we're going to push the tempo, versus Oblivion doing the same, might have been the difference between the win and loss. Whoever won that fight won the day. And Kurev, just a little bit of a capstone onto an already fantastic performance. 2 kills, average about every single game, so pretty phenomenal from him. Our Sony in-zone kill leader of the day, and NIP take the first spot in our ALGS match day 2 here in North America. And as we welcome you guys back into the virtual desk, it's just been a fun day across the board with EMEA, with North America. I mean, things came down to the wire, and, you know, EMEA obviously stretched out the point total from the bottom pretty heavy, with Aurora grabbing around 83 points or so. I think Hierarcha might still be looking at the scoreboard because he's so fascinated with how many points he has. But I think that this one was a lot tighter. Dia, what do you take away from looking at both regions today, and how tight North America was, how, you know, distinctly strong Aurora was outside of the group in EMEA?
I mean, the EMEA games honestly were much more predictable. That's what it really came down to me. EMEA felt like we had a standard Pro League day, and here in the Americas, it felt like this match was blown apart by Freethinkers for the first 4 or 5 games.
Yeah. Graceful?
I mean, I think that it was, EMEA was absolutely crazy, because we saw the one same team in like every single end. They made every single end game in all the matches. And then we had the American region where, you know, we saw one team just run through everyone, and then they fell short. And then one team took over and won, and the second team pulled up. And it's just been so much fun, because having this non-predictability, this flip-floppy, this leaderboard essentially, is so much more exhilarating in my opinion. It almost feels like it's the match point format, where 10 teams are on match point, who's going to close it out. And it's so much fun.
Yeah, we got a match point situation. I mean, 3 teams, anyone wins, they win the series. That was pretty cool to close it out. And obviously, we had a big win from NIP. We've talked a lot about them, but we're going to give you some comms from the second place team, the team who almost made it happen here. But don't worry, I think they'll be okay, because they've got the best and hardest to get trophy in all of Apex Legends for about another year. Of course, I'm talking about Oblivion, and today we got Blinkster joining us. Blinkster, what's going on, man? Congrats on a good series.
What's up, guys? What's up? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Better day than yesterday, for sure.
Yeah, better than yesterday. Let's start there. What went right today for you guys? Obviously, you know, you win that final fight today and you take the win. But, you know, to be that close, and obviously a second place, that's nothing to slouch at. What was the difference between what happened yesterday coming into the split as champions, and then, you know, what you guys said, you know, today to keep the energy and momentum going in your favor?
Well, I mean, yesterday we tried to play the way we played at Champs. We tried to play like super defensive, what we call the baby comp. We tried to go to spots all game long, and we just got bullied by some new PL teams. Was not a fun time. So we got into today, decided to play Crypto, Alter from game 1, and play Caustic, and just like, you know, like dominate like around us. And that was just what we did. And it was like pretty easy, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just like, you know, we just followed the flow today, and it went well.
You say it was easy. The game that you won in game 3 looked really difficult for most of it. I know you were like, you had no ammo. Mon or Fun had like no ammo, and you were getting pushed by S2. Like, what was your focus in that moment, especially when you knew you could push up to the high ground, but you also had S2 like trying to fight you? How did you manage the situation where genuinely before winning the game you almost died?
Yeah, well, I mean, once we got to that spot, we should have died. S2 should have been able to kill us. They somehow didn't kill us because they got shot in their back. But once they died, we just knew it was a free win, because the other 2 teams had to fight each other, which we didn't get any kills from that fight, sadly, but we still got a win, so it was fine. But no, that game went pretty straightforward once we got to that spot.
I mean, I think you guys have shown as well, as you said as well, I think it's a mindset shift where you say the first day we played very defensively. In my opinion, what it sounds like, you said you play on LAN, like you play like on LAN. Every team is insanely good. You have to play very disciplined, and you know how to play high level lobbies. And now you kind of just switch and said, hey, let's just play like every other new PL team because we're better than them and we're just gonna stomp them. And you said it was so easy. Is that a mindset shift as well, that you're just like, hey, mechanically we can just shit on every team, let's just do that instead of sticking to the high level lobby play? And is that something we might see later in the league, in finals day when you're going to win the match point day? Or are you gonna opt to go back to the land play style, or what's happening?
Well, I don't think we're mechanically that much better from those new teams. I think some of those new teams are really good mechanically. I think that's actually their good strength. I just think they lack some IQ sometimes. They're gonna do some plays and you're gonna get inted by them, and you have to adapt to it. So it's either you get bullied or you bully them. So that's what we decided to do today, and we just decided to bully these teams instead of just sitting there and getting bullied by them.
Great adaptation.
Yeah. When it comes to making sure you don't get bullied by other squads, you and I talked about, I don't know, a couple days ago, I want to say 4 days ago, and you had mentioned that as triple MNK, you do have to manage your distances quite a bit. You have to find a way to deal with squads that want to get aggressive on you, especially in a Gibby meta. That's difficult, and we saw it yesterday when somebody Gibby bubbled and just ran at you in a Trident. So how are you managing that now? How are you trying to deal with Gibby teams, and especially Gibby controller teams who just want to bubble and run at you?
If we go against Gibby teams, so if Gibby isn't banned yet, we play Crypto or Maggie. So if we see a Gibby bubble, we instantly Maggie ball, so their game is just over. So I think Gibby's good. I don't think he's a game changer though. I think he's really easy to punish if the buff is misused, and that's what we're basing our gameplay on. That's why we're not playing Gibby right now.
Well, because we have you here and you are the trophy holders, you're the ones who with the defending the title that everybody wants. I got to ask, how does it feel? I mean, just take me through the mind of Blinkster. You're jumping into these lobbies. Is there a different swagger? Is there a different pressure? What goes on in your mind knowing that everyone's coming to take what you have for the rest of the year, and it's up to you to hold on to it?
It's a good feeling. Like I said a few times, I think we got to prove that it's not a fluke. We got to win one more time. Whichever line it's going to be this year, we got to win one more time. So now we got a lot to prove. As a non-signed team still at the moment, we got a lot to prove. So no, hopefully this year goes our way again. Hopefully.
All right, well, it's been great talking to you, Blinkster, and even better seeing you guys play. Congratulations on the second place today, and a really good turnaround here on this Easter Sunday.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right, Blinkster from Oblivion, Fun, and Monsoon going to be celebrating that. Triple MNK squad finds themselves in second place on the day and now in the overall split. NIP taking first place. Stallions right behind them, full 11. 25 points is from one day. They could have just taken today off. They got 0 points, 20th place. That is super unfortunate for them, but I know they'll bounce back and learn a lot from it. And of course, Team Liquid as well. Dia, Graceful, we're coming to the end. Let's get some final thoughts on how today has gone. Feel free to stretch it from North America to the entire day if you feel like it. But Dia, day 2 of our Pro League kicking off and now already kind of sunsetting here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to start the season. Don't get me wrong. A lot of teams have a lot to be proud of. I would remember when you were going onto your socials and seeing screenshots of who's first in Pro League, that there is a group. There's only one group that has played 2 days. Only Group A has that advantage. So any team from Group A that's posting, we're at the top of Pro League, is technically correct, but they're lying to you. Groups B and C are coming for them, and you should be afraid.
Good reminder. Grace?
I mean, I'm just happy to see that we've heard from the insides of the interviews, and as well as, from the inside comms, a lot of teams are being a lot more strategic than before, where we're hearing the case of Effect improving himself in ways that he's not known for. He's known as a fragger, but he's saying, hey, man, I'm the anchor. I'm trying to evolve that side. I heard Naughty stay very grounded from the American side, where he has the head in the right place, in my opinion. And I'm super happy to see these players add a layer of strategic depth to the game, because it's so much more needed now when the game has evolved. Like you said, the game isn't what it was years ago. It's not just one ability and that's it. We're seeing 59 bubbles, CRQs through the roof. We're seeing alter queues everywhere. Like, you got to add something more to that spice. And it's just so much more fun to see what everybody's cooking up. Even though it could be the case of, running and holding W with absolutely everybody like a ranked playstyle, it's still something everybody's, putting their thoughts into, hopefully. It's fun.
Well, it's been great having you boys along for the ride today. What a great show, and thank you both for your talent, your friendship, and camaraderie here as we close out our day number 2. Big thanks to Dia and Graceful. That's going to wrap us up here at the ALGS for our first weekend back. Are you happy we're back? Let us know in the chat, because we're happy to be back with all of you. April 12th is when match day 3 starts, so you've got a week to prepare. Go watch these streamers, go watch these pros, go play some Apex. Wildcard is popping off. Traditional Battle Royales is popping off. Enjoy it, because this is the perfect time for Apex to be popping off on all continents. That's right. Big shout out Japan as well, and Asia holding it down. They've been so great ever since our Sapporo Championships, and we're coming back again. Guys, it's been fantastic. Thank you to EA. Thank you to everyone who's been behind the scenes at EFG to put this broadcast on. Thank you to all of you, the players and the fans who are watching us, and all of our talent and crew. My name's been Rain Day, and I want to remind you to never give up, never stop gaming, and we will see you all for next weekend on Match Day 3.
Dance no stress.